Chapter 45:03. Yang Meirong was slightly stunned when she heard this. Her consciousness was basically controlled by this dream creator. Therefore, she was a little silly and did not recognize Qin Shu and Suyu. However, Qin Shu told her time, and she had some impression of it. Then, she tried her best to think about what she had to do every weekend morning. She definitely would not forget such a habit after such a long time. Sure enough, Yang Meirong had a flash of inspiration and finally remembered. Every weekend at 9 o'clock in the morning, she would chant scriptures and pray in the study. Yang Meirong was a Buddhist. Perhaps she was influenced by her old neighbor, but there was a portrait of Bodhisattva in the study. Perhaps it was because she wanted to have something to look forward to, so Yang Meirong ate vegetarian on the 1st and 15th of every month and chanted scriptures on the weekend. Qin Shu once overheard Huomin mention it. As for what scripture she was chanting, he didn't know, so he took a risk. After all, if Su Yu's Great Compassion mantra was useful, then no matter what Buddhist scriptures his mother-in-law chanted, it should be useful. At this critical moment, there was no time to think about many things. Even if it was a last resort, he had to give it a try. This was Qin Shu's style of doing things. She didn't know what Qin Shu was up to, but she was afraid that he would play tricks. The dream creator put his finger in his mouth and made a sound. The venomous snake suddenly pounced towards Yang Meirong's face. It was so fast that it was shocking. Su Yu's heart almost jumped out of his chest. At this moment, Yang Meirong closed her eyes and mumbled something. The venomous snake suddenly stopped in front of her. Then, its head swayed left and right, but it did not attack forward. The dream creator was a little anxious and made another sound, but the snake still did not react. Qin Shu looked at his mother-in-law's lips and read her lips. He realized that she was chanting Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. When he walked the deep Prajnaparamita, he saw that the 5 skandhas were all empty, and he passed through all suffering. This was a Buddha sutra. It seemed like Mian was right. His mother-in-law was indeed chanting, and, judging from the snake's reaction, the Heart Sutra was effective. Before the dream creator could react, Qin Shu whispered to Suyu, "Suyu, let's go." Suyu reacted quickly and ran towards the dream creator with Qin Shu. Just as he was about to reach that woman, a sudden downpour fell from the sky. The water made their vision blurry. When Qin Shu and Suyu opened their eyes again, they suddenly found that the scene in the room had changed. The house was nowhere to be found. What replaced it was a vast ocean, and the two of them were in the middle of a violent tsunami. Another huge wave came crashing down. Suyu, quickly gather your consciousness. This is a dream, Qin Shu loudly reminded Suyu. Suyu quickly closed his eyes and concentrated on condensing his consciousness. The two of them quickly condensed their consciousnesses, and the tsunami instantly faded away. Their surroundings became quiet. When they opened their eyes again, the scene had changed again. They were in a very dark room. There were mirrors behind them, and the dream creator had 8 clones. They stood around them, surrounding them in a circle. Fuck, what's going on? 72 transformations? Did we meet a monkey? Suyu cursed. Before Qin Shu could say anything, an arrow had appeared in the hands of the 8 dream creators. Then the 8 of them released their arrows. Be careful, Qin Shu shouted again. Chapter 45:04. Then, he and Suyu quickly dodged, but just as they snatched one wave, the second wave came. That speed and number had already exceeded the limits of humans. Fuck, I'm not dodging anymore. This is a dream. This is a dream. Suyu stood on the spot, panting. Then, he closed his eyes and gathered his consciousness. Suddenly, Qin Shu pounced over and pushed Suyu away. Then, Suyu opened his eyes and saw that Qin Shu had been shot in the arm. The arrow pierced through Qin Shu's entire arm. How did this happen? Suyu was dumbfounded. The bone-piercing pain assaulted him. Qin Shu endured the pain and stood up. He whispered to Suyu, "She's different from the 2 dream creators. The scenes she creates are both real and fake. Some are real and some are fake. The sea just now was an illusion, but although this clone is a smokescreen, it's real. Even if you gather your consciousness, you won't be able to do it. Fuck, that's so strange. How'd you tell? By her gaze, Qin Shu said. Gaze? Whose gaze? Qin Shu was speechless. Qin Shu said, look at that dream creator's gaze. When she created the scene, her pupils were blue, but now her pupils are black. So, I'm guessing that if you get hit by the arrow, you'll definitely die. After Suyu heard this, he looked at Qin Shu in admiration. I really have to hand it to you. You can even notice such a small detail. Cut the crap. Be careful. With that, Qin Shu turned around and prepared to fight. Suyu suddenly understood why Huamin loved this man so much. There was indeed an indescribable charisma about him. Whether it was friends, family, or lovers, they would all feel inexplicably safe by his side. Suyu looked at the angle. If Qin Shu hadn't pushed him away, then he would have been the one who was shot, and it wouldn't have been as simple as his arm. It would have been his heart. Therefore, if Qin Shu hadn't pushed him away in time, he would have died. How could he still be alive and talking here? Seeing that Qin Shu could continue fighting after being shot, Suyu felt that he couldn't lose as a man. Thus, the two men had their backs against each other, preparing to fight side by side again. Seeing that Qin Shu was injured, the dream creator didn't immediately continue shooting. Instead, she looked at Qin Shu's injuries. You, Qin Shu, Suyu, Qin Shu, Qin Shu, Qin Shu, Qin Shu. I'd rather die here than leave with you. Come on, let's continue. Qin Shu crooked his finger to block out the piercing pain in his arm. Then, he carefully observed Qin Shu. He tried Qin Shu. Qin Shu Chu was Qin. When Suyu saw that Qin Shu was injured, he suddenly had a fighting spirit. While the dream creator was talking to Qin Shu, he suddenly rushed forward. Then, he punched one of them in the face. He was so fast that no one could deal with him. However, the one that Suyu hit instantly turned into a bubble. It turned out that it was just a fake. It made sense. 1 out of 8. This was a very difficult question. The scariest thing was that the bubble that was shattered by Suyu reformed within a few seconds. Then, the 8 of them started to spin rapidly. This way, even Suyu couldn't figure out which one he had hit. The difficulty continued to increase. Qin Shu and Suyu both started to focus because they knew that either the dream creator or the two of them would die in this battle. Chapter 4505. Suyu. Yes? Chant the Great Compassion Mantra, quick. In the darkness, Qin Shu whispered to Suyu. Suyu immediately closed his eyes and thought of this life-saving trump card. Then, he chanted the Great Compassion Mantra. Indeed, according to Qin Shu's guess, the moment the Great Compassion Mantra was chanted, all the arrows stopped in midair. Then, Qin Shu took the opportunity to open his eyes and observe. He realized that the woman standing in the second position had a glint in her eyes. This was a small detail that the other 7 did not have. Therefore, while the arrow was still in place, Qin Shu bent down and went under it. He tripped the woman. He believed that this was the real deal. Indeed, after the woman fell, she did not disappear. Seeing that he had guessed correctly, Qin Shu quickly flipped over and grabbed the woman's throat. Suddenly, he felt a burning sensation in his hand and realized that his neck had turned into a ball of flames. The burning sensation came from his palm. It felt real and did not feel like an illusion. However, Qin Shu knew that if he let go, he would lose. Therefore, even though it was extremely painful, he refused to let go and used even more strength. Suyu used the sutra to stop the dream creator's arrows so that she could not attack them. Qin Shu took the opportunity to attack the dream creator. These two men worked really well together. After some time, Qin Shu felt that his hand was almost numb from the burn. Suddenly, his hand turned cold. He lowered his head, and the fire was gone. The dream creator's real body was lying on Qin Shu's body, her face pale and weak. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You are indeed the man I like. It was indeed strange for her to say such words at this time. Qin Shu did not know what to say. Then, the woman said, Qin Shu, my name is Shalana. Remember my name. I loved you. Qin Shu still did not know what to say, but he let go of his hand because he knew that she was about to die. He couldn't even use his talent as a dream creator. Actually, I have a way to kill you, but I don't want to do that. I've had enough in this life. I have everything I want. I hope that I won't enter the Doomsday Reaper in my next life. I want to live a normal life, like all girls. I want to find someone I like, get married, and have children with him. Hearing this, Chu had mixed feelings. It seemed that even a terrifying force like the Doomsday Death God would envy the ordinary lives of ordinary people in the end. Chu, I'm a little cold. Can you hold my hand? Her original appearance was actually very beautiful. She was a very clean and young lady. Her smile was so sweet. Chu, don't. It might be a trap. Suyu opened his eyes and reminded Chu. Chu hesitated slightly, but still chose to believe this woman. He reached out and gently held the woman's cold hand. It seemed that Mion was right. The temperature of a dream creator was indeed different from that of an ordinary person. Her hand was very cold. Thank you. The woman smiled in relief, but her aura was obviously weaker. Who is the fourth dream creator? Chu asked her. The fourth dream creator is in your group. The woman said. I know. Tell me, who is it? It's actually. The woman leaned close to Chu's ear and was about to tell him the answer. Before the woman could finish, Chu felt that something was wrong. He quickly moved away from the woman. Then he heard a muffled sound. The woman's body exploded, then turned into a pool of green liquid. It was extremely disgusting. The third dream creator is dead. So you said blankly. MHM. Chu nodded. Did she tell you who the fourth one is? So you asked. Chapter 4506. Chu shook his head. Then let's leave this place first and take Annie Yang with us, so you suggested. Chu nodded and quickly walked up to Yang Meirong. After the third dream creator died, all of her illusions collapsed. Chu and Suyu took the unconscious Yang Meirong and were not in a hurry to return to South Hill Manor. Instead, they went to the first hospital to pick up Jixin. Suyu used the prayer beads, and the three of them returned to the first hospital almost instantly. They actually wanted to confirm if Jixin was an illusion or if he had entered the dream in person. Just as Chu thought, Jixin had entered the dream in person. Jixin was quite surprised to see Chu and Suyu return. Brother-in-law, Brother Suyu, what's wrong? Why are you guys so serious? What happened to my mom? Jixin quickly went up and hugged his mother. Mom is fine. She just fainted. That's good, that's good. Did you guys see my wife? I came back from buying food, and she was gone. Jixin had a harmless look on his face as he tried to look for Bella. Chu and Suyu looked at each other. Then, Suyu coughed lightly and said to Chu, why don't you tell me about this? I don't even know how to start. What's wrong? Brother Suyu, brother-in-law, what happened? Don't hide it from me. Did something happen to my wife? Jixin saw that there was something wrong with their expressions and was scared out of his wits. Therefore, Chu briefly explained what had happened to Mion. Jixin was dumbfounded. Brother-in-law, you mean my wife isn't my wife? No, Bella isn't real. Yes, she's the third dream creator. She's from the Doomsday Reaper. Who is the Doomsday Reaper? Jixin was confused. You don't have to worry about that for now. You just need to know that after we kill the fourth dream creator, we will leave the dream, Chu said. Wait a minute. Brother-in-law, then can I think of it this way? We entered the dream, but my wife didn't. So, everything that happened in the dream wasn't real. Dad's return wasn't real. My sister's miscarriage wasn't real, including the twins and my nieces. So, my wife Bella is still alive in the real world. She didn't become a vegetable and is still alive, right? This time, your brain finally works faster. Without waiting for Chu to speak, Suyu nodded. Wow, that's great. My wife is fine. Jixin was overjoyed to hear that Bella didn't enter the dream. Ever since Bella fell into a coma, Jixin had cried countless times in private. Now that he thought about it, he realized that it was all just a dream. He immediately felt much more relaxed. The current situation meant that Bella herself had not entered the dream. She was the only one who had escaped with the twins, brother-in-law. Does this mean that my wife is lucky? Together with Pudding and Little Bean, the three of them are the only ones who didn't encounter the nightmare? After Jixin heard Su Yu's praise, he continued to think quickly and analyze the situation. Yes, that's right. Su Yu felt that Jixin was smart and nodded. Unexpectedly, Qin Chu shook his head. No, Jixin is wrong. It's not 3. Huh? If it's not 3, then who else didn't enter the dream? Jixin looked at his brother-in-law curiously. Su Yu also remembered and said in realization, it's the 4th dream creator. Who is he pretending to be? Then, this person's real self didn't enter the dream. Chapter 4507. Oh, right. How could I forget the most important thing? Jixin slapped his thigh. Let's not waste time here. The 3rd dream creator also said that we don't have much time left. We have to rush back as soon as possible and find out the whereabouts of the 4th dream creator. Then, we have to leave this place quickly, Qin Chu suggested. No problem, I'll take you back now. Su Yu touched the prayer beads around his neck. He was very grateful to Master Wu for giving him this magical thing. With it, he didn't even have to drive. Jixin, don't talk nonsense when you get back. Don't tell anyone what I told you today. Qin Chu looked at Jixin and reminded him. Why? Brother-in-law. Because you don't know which one of those people is the 4th dream creator. We can't alert them. Qin Chu could rule out Jixin because it was impossible for 2 dream creators to be together. Also, the 3rd dream creator said that the dream creator was among those people. Therefore, Yang Meiyerong and Jixin could be eliminated. Only Huamin, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao, Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, the professor, Qiao Fei, Lu Yin, and the twins were left in South Hill Manor. Among these 12 people, Huamin and the professor could be eliminated. Huamin was personally confirmed by Su Yu and Qin Chu, and the professor was the main target this time, so he couldn't be fake. This was because those people had set up such a huge trap for the red demon in the professor's hands. Therefore, other than Huamin and her father, the professor, there were still 10 people left who were suspects. However, it was still very difficult to choose 1 out of 10. Okay, brother-in-law, I understand. I won't say anything. I don't have the ability to help you guys. After I go back, I'll be in charge of taking care of my mother and sister. Jixin knew himself very well. In order not to cause trouble for Qin Chu and the others, he took the initiative to apply for a logistics job. Qin Chu nodded and gave Su Yu a look. Su Yu spun the prayer beads, and the 4 of them instantly returned to South Hill Manor. Wow, you're so fast. I thought you guys would take a while. Zhu Lingling happened to be at the door and saw them come back. Have you finished eating? Su Yu asked. Not yet. Everyone is eating hot food. Let's go in. I'll get more dishes. Zhu Lingling ran happily to the kitchen. Huamin glanced at Qin Chu and Su Yu in the crowd. From their gazes, she confirmed that the 3rd dream creator was dead. The 4th one is definitely very good at disguising himself. Let's be careful. Qin Chu whispered in Su Yu's ear. All right, sis, our mother isn't feeling well. I'll help her upstairs to rest. You guys eat first. Don't wait for me. Jixin found an excuse and took his mother upstairs. Mom, what's wrong? I'll go upstairs and take a look. Huamin was worried, so he turned around and followed them upstairs. Qin Chu and Su Yu found an empty seat and sat down. Su Yu followed his and Qin Chu's plan and cleared his throat. The 3rd dream creator is dead. After saying this, Qin Chu glanced at everyone's faces in the blink of an eye. He observed everyone's expressions, other than Zhu Lingling, who was washing vegetables in the kitchen. He looked at everyone else. However, he didn't find any subtle expressions on everyone's faces that indicated that their accomplice had died. Qin Chu's gaze fell on the kitchen door again. At this moment, Zhu Lingling walked out with the dishes. Su Yu continued. Qin Chu, and I didn't expect the 3rd dream creator to be Bella. What? The 3rd dream creator is Bella? Zhu Lingling's reaction was so big that she almost dropped the dishes on her plate. Chapter 4508. Su Yu nodded. Yes, it's Bella. But isn't she in a vegetative state? Zhu Lingling was surprised. Qin Chu explained. It's because of this that we ignored her. Su Yu and I thought Jixin was. Then, we almost fell into her trap. Luckily, we came in time. Now that she's dead, does that mean we're getting closer to success? Qin Ning asked. Qin Shu nodded. Yes, as long as we kill the fourth dream creator. Where's the fourth one? Let's go find him. Tang Chuan was also an impatient person. He put his arm around Qin Ning's shoulder and suggested. Suyu glanced at Qin Shu, not knowing how to answer. Qin Shu picked up his glass and took a sip of water gracefully. Then he looked around at everyone, including Zhu Lingling, who had just sat down. There's no need to look for him, because the fourth dream creator is among us. After Qin Shu said this, the entire place went into an uproar. Suyu was also slightly stunned. He knew that Qin Shu had never played by the rules, so it was really hard to figure out why he said it so bluntly. Although he still couldn't tell who was the most suspicious. However, he was sure that Huomin, Jixin, and Andy Yang upstairs could be ruled out. Suyu, Qin Shu, and the professor downstairs were also out of suspicion. They were safe. The only ones left were Gao Ran, Lingling, Xiaowei Wei Liao, Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, Lu Yin, Xiao Fei, Rick, and Cece. And had been with Suyu all this time, so he was definitely harmless. At this moment, Suyu was really glad that it was with him. Otherwise, it would be awkward if everyone else formed a couple while he was the only one who was alone. Brother, is what you said true? How could it be among us? Qin Ning looked at Qin Shu in shock and disbelief. The fourth dream creator is indeed among us. This was what the third dream creator said before he died. Qin Shu explained. Qin Shu, you're too decisive. How can we believe the words of the third dream creator? Maybe she's deliberately misleading us, sowing discord, and making us fight among ourselves. Zhu Lingling's voice was loud, so everyone heard her clearly. Qin Shu glanced at Rick. Rick was one of Qin Shu's best friends. Qin Shu knew Rick's personality better than anyone else. Ever since they moved in together, Qin Shu hadn't talked much with Rick. Of course, it was not because he did not believe Rick, but because he did not know how to tell Rick that his child with Cece was also an illusion. In the real world, Cece's due date was not here yet. She was only a few days away from Huomin. Since Qin Shu said so, there must be a reason. I believe him. Rick, who had been silent all this while, spoke. Cece sat beside Rick with the baby in her arms, not saying a word. He believed in Qin Shu unconditionally. At the same time, Qin Shu also believed in Rick. However, Qin Shu couldn't tell Suyu that, because he was close to Rick, he didn't suspect him. Therefore, Rick was still on the list of suspects like everyone else. However, Qin Shu had already eliminated Rick from the list. Does that mean that everyone here is a suspect? Jiang Xiaowei looked at Suyu and then at Qin Shu. Daddy, are the two of us also under suspicion? Little Bean looked at her daddy with grievance. Chapter 4509. Suyu nodded. That's right, you two too. But don't be sad. We found the fourth dream creator so that everyone can escape from this godforsaken place. So don't panic. If anyone should panic, it should be the fourth dream creator. After all, its identity is about to be exposed. Qin Shu didn't answer, but Suyu answered first. Perhaps he understood how Qin Shu, as a father, couldn't face his child. Even though he knew that the twins weren't real and could be made up, they could also be dream creators. What about Mian? Jiang Xiaowei asked. Mian has been ruled out. Qin Shu and I have already confirmed it. When we were fighting the third dream creator, Annie Yang and Jixin were also ruled out. So, we have temporarily isolated the three of them. So you're saying that we're eating this hot pot just to find the fourth dream creator? After Jiang Xiaowei said this, everyone understood what Qin Shu and Suyu meant. Lord Su, brother-in-law, just tell us now, how many of them have been ruled out? After we pick out those who have been ruled out, the rest will stand in a row and we'll think of a way to confirm it. Tang Chuan was impatient. When he heard that the dream creator was among them, he couldn't eat anymore. He was no longer in a mood to eat hot pot. Suyu looked at Qin Shu. Then he took the initiative to speak. Among the people sitting here, only the professor can be ruled out. As for the reason, I'll explain it to everyone. The final confrontation between the four dream creators is a mysterious treasure called the Red Demon in the professor's hands. Although we don't know what it is, and I don't want to know what it is. It must be very important. But this thing must be very important. Otherwise, they wouldn't have spent so much effort to weave such a big nightmare. So the professor must be real. Uncle Lou, please come out. After Suyu finished speaking, everyone looked at the professor. The professor stood up slightly, with no expression on his face. Qin Chu added, when we killed the first dream creator, the woman who looked like Dr. Linya, my dad, was a key figure. So, based on this point, we can rule him out. The professor slowly walked out and separated himself from everyone. Lu Yin teased him with a smile. Dad, you're good. You're respected everywhere you go. Even if you're playing the guessing game, you're the first to escape. All right, Yin, stop fooling around. We're getting down to business. Xiao Fei reminded Lu Yin seriously. Now is not the time to joke. Brother, how should we confirm it? Qi Ning could not help but ask. Yeah, say something. Hurry up. Find it so we can continue eating hot pot, Tang Chuan said. Wei Liao chuckled. You're so careless. You're still thinking about eating hot pot at a time like this. If the identity of the fourth dream creator is exposed, it'll probably be another life and death battle. On the bright side, if we work together to kill the dream creator, we'll all leave this lousy place and return to the real world. We can eat whatever we want. No. You don't understand. I like the feeling of eating hot pot in my dreams. Tang Chuan was amused. Then you're really a bastard. Wei Liao mocked Tang Chuan with a smile. Qin Chu looked around at everyone and said again, there's indeed a way. Suyu, Mian, and I all agree. It's said that dream creators have low body temperatures, so their hands and feet are cold. So, please reach out your hands. I'll get Suyu to touch them one by one, to check the temperature of your palms. Chapter 45:10. Wow, what's the meaning of this? Are you asking us to take her temperature? Tang Chuan teased. No need. Everyone, reach out your hands and we'll check, Suyu said. That's a good idea, hee. Come on, touch mine first. Gao Ran smiled and was the first to reach out his hand. Suyu glanced at Qin Chu, then took the initiative to touch Gao Ran's palm. It was the original temperature of a human body. Handsome Su, I want it too. Pudding raised her hand for Suyu to check. Suyu glanced at Pudding and walked toward her. Qin Chu, on the other hand, scanned everyone's micro-expressions, trying to find any useful information. But at that moment, the scene suddenly changed. The dining room at South Hill Manor suddenly turned into a dilapidated ship. Then, it floated on the surface of the sea in the middle of the night. The scary thing was that it was stormy weather. Everyone was swaying on the ship, and the situation was very dangerous at this moment. Huamin, Zhixin, and Yang Meirong were nowhere to be seen. Qin Chu's first reaction was that the dream creator in the dining room had secretly tampered with it. Huamin and the others weren't in the dining room, so they weren't pulled into the illusion she created. What's going on? Fuck. Where's my hot pot? Tang Chuan was dumbfounded. He didn't forget to hug Qi Ning tightly, afraid that something would happen to his delicate wife. Wei Liao and Gao Ran were also hugging their children tightly. Qin Chu glanced at the twins. They were hugging each other and squatting in a corner. Qin Chu, what should we do now? Suyu rushed up and grabbed Qin Chu's shoulder. The dream creator must not want us to use our body temperature to determine its true identity. That's why they came up with this plan. What did you check just now? Qin Chu asked Suyu. It's Pudding's turn, Suyu said. Qin Chu glanced at Pudding in the corner with a complicated expression. He really didn't want to suspect his daughter. But coincidentally, when it was time to check on Pudding, the dream creator secretly made a move. Because the movements were too fast, he didn't see clearly who was the one who formed the seal. Are you suspecting Pudding? Suyu looked into Qin Chu's eyes and guessed in a low voice. What about you? Qin Chu asked Suyu. I suspect Zhu Lingling. Her reaction just now was obviously bigger than the others. Suyu said. Qin Chu lowered his voice and whispered into Suyu's ear. After learning my lesson from Bella and Jixin, I feel that although Zhu Lingling looks the most suspicious on the surface, the dream creator must have secretly done something to mislead us into thinking that it was Zhu Lingling. What you mean is Suyu was confused. What I mean is, let's play a big game this time. Suyu, who do you think performed the best among these people? Who doesn't look like a dream creator? Suyu was about to speak. However, he heard the professor's old voice. Chu, come here. Chin Shu and Suyu both turned around and ran toward the professor. What's wrong? Dad. Chin Shu looked anxious. Yin and Fei are gone. The professor finished speaking. Suyu and Chin Chu immediately looked around. They could see the ship at a glance, but Lu Yin and Xiao Fei had disappeared. They didn't come in, or? Chin Chu asked the professor. They were just by my side, but now they're gone. It happened in an instant. The professor also felt that something was strange. Chapter 45:11. Just as everyone was about to say something, they suddenly heard banging sounds from below the boat. Then, Chin Chu followed the sound and found a hidden wooden door. He squatted down and lifted the wooden door. Everyone was stunned by the scene below. Lu Yin fired 2 shots at Xiao Fei with her pistol. Suyu was about to jump down and attack Lu Yin. After all, he thought Lu Yin was a dream creator. However, Chin Chu stopped him. Go. She's the 4th dream creator. Suyu was afraid that Chin Chu didn't understand, so he explained anxiously. Suyu, look. She pointed at the blood behind Xiao Fei. Chin Chu pointed at Suyu. It was the red liquid that would only appear after a dream creator died. Suyu was stunned, speechless. He didn't expect this. So, Xiao Fei was the dream creator? The dream creator was severely injured, so the illusion slowly disappeared. Therefore, everyone instantly returned to the dining room of South Hill Manor from the boat. Xiao Fei lay on the ground, his face pale. He looked up at Lu Yin, but his voice was different. When did you find out? Lu Yin looked up and sighed slightly. About 24 hours ago. Then why did you only do it now? He asked. You look like the man I love the most, so I really couldn't bear to do it. This is also why you're so smart. Lu Yin said. Did I make any mistakes? Actually, he was already very careful around Lu Yin. After all, he knew that Lu Yin was very smart. However, he didn't expect that he would accidentally expose his flaws. Otherwise, he would have secretly formed a seal and created a tsunami in his dream. However, before he could form the seal, Lu Yin stabbed him in the back. Then, Lu Yin shot him 2 more times from the secret chamber on the boat. Lu Yin's expression was complicated. Perhaps no one knew how she felt when she shot the man she loved. Of course, her rationality told her that this person wasn't Xiao Fei. It was just a dream creator with the same face as Xiao Fei. She also knew that if she didn't act ruthlessly, everyone would die. My Xiao Fei is a famous little heater. I often hug him to sleep, so I'm very familiar with his body temperature. Although my Xiao Fei is amazing, he's definitely not a magician. When you proposed those roses, I asked you where you got them. Do you remember how you answered? Lu Yin looked at the last dream creator calmly. I said I borrowed it from my sister's house. He answered. Lu Yin smiled. Maybe you don't know, but my sister doesn't raise roses because there are too many thorns. She doesn't want to hurt Pudding and Little Bean. So at that time, I thought, what kind of person can make roses out of a house that doesn't have roses? Perhaps only dream creators can do this? Then why didn't you expose me then? Because I wasn't sure. I was afraid that I would wrongly accuse you. After all, in the dream, if you killed the real person, you would be completely dead. I didn't want to kill the man I love the most because of my thoughts. Lu Yin is indeed very smart. Haha, serves you right for not being wiped out. Such a group of people, it's not a waste for our boss to weave a nightmare for you. Haha. The man slowly revealed his true face, and his face that looked exactly like Xiao Fei's faded. It turned out that this was also a good-looking man. He looked young, but no one knew him. He should be from Doomsday Reaper, Chin Chu said. Brother-in-law, the 4th dream creator, is dead. Should we go back to the real world? Lu Yin turned around and asked Chin Chu. At this moment, before Chin Chu could reply, the ground began to shake as if there was a magnitude 8 earthquake. Everyone was dizzy from the shaking. Chin Chu subconsciously looked at Suyu to look for Suyu. Chapter 45:12. With the death of the 4th dream creator, The dream world began to collapse. Some people said that the fourth dream creator died too easily, but that was not the case. Lu Yin had suspected him for a long time and had been observing him for the past few days. If Lu Yin hadn't acted quickly, he would have killed everyone by the time Qin Shu and Su Yu discovered his true identity. Therefore, it wasn't easy. It can only be said that Lu Yin was too powerful. The fourth dream creator took his last breath, and the dream world began to collapse. To dream creators, they were the ones manipulating others. Perhaps in their lives, no one had been able to escape from the nightmare so quickly. Of course, all of this was thanks to Su Yu. He was the one who brought such important news after entering the dream for the second time. Huo Min, Ji Xin, and their mother rushed over to reunite with everyone. At this moment, Qin Shu discovered a serious problem. Everyone's bodies began to disappear, starting from the soles of their feet, and then to their calves. However, Su Yu still did not react at all. "Lord Su, why are you different from us?" Wei Liao was next to Su Yu. When he noticed something, he shouted at Su Yu. Su Yu didn't say anything and just licked his lips. "Lord Su, say something. What's going on?" Tang Chuan also had a bad feeling. Although he couldn't put his finger on it, he felt that something was wrong with Su Yu. Huo Min and Qin Shu looked at Su Yu. Huo Min wanted to run over to Su Yu and grab his collar. Then he asked, "Su Yu, what's wrong with you? What trick are you playing now?" However, just as Huo Min was about to leave, he realized that his legs had disappeared. Everyone was disappearing. This was a sign that they were about to leave this place. No one was afraid. But why was Su Yu different from everyone else? "Boss, what's wrong with you? Why are you different from us? Say something," and kept shaking Su Yu's arm desperately. But he refused to say a single word. He looked around and scanned the familiar faces one by one. Finally, he smiled and said, "In this life, I, Su Yu, have known everyone. I'm already satisfied." "What do you mean by that?" "Su Yu, speak clearly. What the fuck do you mean?" Huo Min would never swear. He would only swear when he lost his rationality. At this moment, in front of so many people, Huo Min couldn't suppress the fear in his heart and cursed at Su Yu. Su Yu looked at Huo Min and opened his mouth, wanting to say something. However, he didn't say it out loud. Then he looked at Qin Shu and said, "Take good care of this silly woman and give birth to Qin Gu." At this moment, everyone had disappeared. Huo Min wanted to say something, but his vision went black. He completely lost consciousness. She vaguely remembered the last time she saw Su Yu before leaving the incubus. Just like that, Su Yu stood a little far away from everyone. He was wearing his favorite white Versace short-sleeved shirt and coffee-colored casual pants. He was like a lonely teenager. In his eyes, there was reluctance, tears, and many things that he didn't say. In the end, Qin Shu didn't ask Su Yu because he knew that Su Yu had been hiding something from them. In the past, if Su Yu didn't say anything, he wouldn't have known. Now, he didn't need Su Yu to tell him. He had already guessed it. The dream creator was dead, the incubus was broken, and everyone went back, but Su Yu stayed. Chapter 45:13. When Huo Min woke up again, she saw the familiar ceiling. She slowly opened her eyes and reached out to block her vision, afraid that the strong light would hurt her. "Mian, you're awake." It seemed that Qin Shu had woken up before her. Huo Min seemed to have thought of something and suddenly stood up. "Honey, where's Su Yu? Where's Su Yu?" Qin Shu didn't say anything. "Honey, I'm asking you. Say something. Where's Su Yu? Ask him to come see me." "Mian, calm down and listen to me. I don't want to listen to you. I just want to see Su Yu now. Go and ask him to come here. I want to see him right now." Huo Min rarely lost her mind like this. She covered her head with her hands and shook her messy long hair. She refused to listen to anything Qin Shu said to her. No matter what Qin Shu said, she only repeated one sentence. "I want to see Su Yu. I want Su Yu to come see me immediately." In the end, Qin Shu decided to tell her the truth. "Mian, Su Yu didn't come back." Huo Min's body trembled. Where did he go? He didn't come back? Did he travel abroad? Or was he afraid that I'd scold him? So he went into hiding. Or did he go to a meeting with Lord Su? Did he go to the army to see his old comrade? "Mian, you know very well. Don't lie to yourself. Su Yu is in the dream. He didn't come back with us. I don't believe it. I'm going to find Su Yu now. Huamin turned over and almost fell to the ground because of her trembling legs. Fortunately, Qin Shu was quick to react and supported Huamin. To be precise, it was Huamin with a big belly. They had finally returned to the real world to the correct time. Huamin hadn't given birth yet because she wasn't due yet. In the butler's eyes, they had only slept for one night after coming back. Honey, please take me to Su Yu. I'm begging you. Huamin closed his eyes as tears streamed down his cheeks. Don't cry, Mian. I'll take you to see him. Qin Shu wiped away Huamin's tears with heartache, and then carefully carried her downstairs. Then, he placed it on the passenger seat of the black Bentley. Then, the couple went to Su Yu's private villa. Everyone returned to the starting point, except for Yang Meirong, who was still feeling unwell. Everyone woke up and immediately rushed to Su Yu's house. When Qin Shu and Huamin arrived, everyone had already arrived. Other than the people who returned from the dream, there were two more people at Su Yu's house. One was Su Yu's mother, Auntie Su. The other was Su Yu's master, Master Wu. However, no one was familiar with Master Wu. It was only when Su Yu's mother introduced him that everyone knew about him. Mian is here, Jiang Xiaowei said when she saw Huamin and Qin Shu. Everyone's eyes immediately turned to look at them. Where's Su Yu? Huamin had nothing on his mind except for finding Su Yu. Jiang Xiaowei didn't say anything. She pointed at the man lying on the bed in Anne's bedroom. After Xiaoan woke up, he found himself lying side by side on the same bed as his boss. He wanted to shake him awake, but Master Wu stopped him. Huamin broke free from Qin Shu's arms and quickly walked to the bed. Then, she looked at the man lying on the bed who hadn't woken up. She felt like dying. Su Yu, stop fooling around, okay? This joke isn't funny. We're all worried about you. We agreed to come back together. Wake up, don't stay in bed. Huamin sat on Su Yu's bed with a gentleness she had never shown before. Then, she reached out and gently tapped Su Yu's forehead with her finger. It was like a little girl naughtily waking up her boyfriend. However, Su Yu still didn't react. Chapter 45:14. Seeing Huamian's reaction, everyone felt like crying again. Lady Su picked up her handkerchief, covered her nose, and started crying again, even though she had cried countless times in the past few days. With Huamin crying, no one could hold it in anymore. Tang Chuan was a man. In the past, he always felt that crying was too embarrassing, but now he couldn't care less. Wei Liao was more reserved, but he turned his head and wiped his tears silently. You're Su Yu's master, Master Wu, right? Qin Shu was still rational. He endured the pain and walked over to Master Wu. Master Wu nodded. His face was also haggard. Master Wu, I've heard Su Yu mention you many times in my dreams. Can you tell me why Su Yu hasn't woken up? When will he wake up? Master Wu glanced at Qin Shu and then at Huamin. Then he slowly said, Su Yu came back by accident for the first time and realized that something was wrong. Then, he found me through a friend. I had some fate with this kid, so I helped him solve a lot of problems and told him about the incubus. Later, when he heard that you guys were in danger inside, he begged me to enter the dream a second time. The two of us found the hypnotist who lured you guys into the dream and sent him back. Only when he returns to the dream can he tell you guys that you're dreaming and have a chance of escaping. I thought that 4 dream creators would be enough for you guys to deal with, but I didn't expect you guys to be so capable and come out so quickly. What price will Su Yu pay for entering the dream a second time? Qin Shu saw that Master Wu didn't get to the point even after saying so much, so he hit the nail on the head. Master Wu was silent for a moment, then he looked around at everyone's faces and continued. Those who enter the dream a second time will be trapped in the dream forever. After Master Wu said this, everyone broke down. Xiaoan's cries went from a low whimper to a heartbroken one. Tang Chuan was so agitated that he kicked over a wooden coffee table in the room. His leg was bruised. Qin Ning squatted down and hurriedly looked for the first aid kit to wipe the alcohol off Tang Chuan's face. Wei Liao also sucked in a breath of cold air. His entire body felt unwell. Jiang Xiaowei held her husband's hand tightly. She wanted to comfort him, but she didn't know what to say. The professor and Lu Yin were calmer than the others. After all, they didn't have a deep relationship with Suyu. However, they knew that Suyu was doing this for everyone. Thus, their hearts were very heavy. Huamin had the biggest reaction. After hearing this, she turned around and grabbed Suyu's collar. Suyu, you liar. I asked you in my dream, but you didn't say anything. Didn't you say you were fine? Why can't you come back? Why? Tell me, why did you lie to me? You big liar. I'll never forgive you again. I'll never be good friends with you again. This was the first time Huamin was so hysterical. Qin Chu rushed forward and hugged Huamin tightly. Master Wu also tried to persuade him. You'd better not touch Suyu. If he moves away now, he might disappear in the dream. Huamin instantly stopped. Then his eyes widened as he sat on the ground dejectedly. Master Wu, is there really no other way? You're an expert. Please help us. Qin Chu looked at Master Wu and placed his last hope on him. Chapter 45:15. Without waiting for Master Wu to speak, Huamin said slightly, Can I replace him? I want to replace him. Let him come out, and I'll go in, okay? Master Wu shook his head. I understand how you guys feel. Suyu is my disciple, and I've only taken in one disciple in my life. Naturally, I don't want anything to happen to him, but there's really nothing I can do about this. When Suyu entered the dream for the second time, I told him that there were only two outcomes if you went back this time. Firstly, the dream creator will kill you and your people. Secondly, if you successfully kill the dream creator, all your friends will come back, but you will stay in the dream forever. No one said anything and just listened quietly. Master Wu continued, I've emphasized the stakes many times, but Suyu still chose to do so. Obviously, you guys are more important to him than himself, so please respect his choice. Master Wu, what will happen to Suyu in the dream? Will he be in danger? What will he encounter? How is he going to live alone in the dream? Jiang Xiaowei was indeed a psychologist. The questions she thought of were things that no one had thought of yet. She had already accepted the fact that Suyu was in the dream. However, she wanted to know what Suyu would be like in the dream after everyone left. What would he encounter? Will he be in danger? Sure enough, after Jiang Xiaowei asked, everyone looked at Master Wu expectantly. It seemed like everyone wanted to know what Suyu would experience in the dream. Master Wu sighed. I've never experienced such a thing before, so I don't dare to speculate. However, based on my personal analysis, the dream creator is already dead, so he's naturally not in danger. However, all you have left, he might be alone in the dream. No matter what he experiences, he's still alone. Because the dream creator is already dead, all the things created by the dream creator have collapsed. Suyu is the only real person left in the nightmare, so he might be the only one left. What's scary now is not whether he's in danger in the dream. The scariest thing is the endless loneliness. After Master Wu finished speaking, everyone understood what he meant. In Suyu's dream, he was neither old nor dead, he was not in danger, and he did not need to eat or drink. However, he was always alone, and he had no concept of time. Just thinking about it made one feel despair. He didn't know where he had read this sentence before, but the scariest thing in the world was not death, nor was it the separation of life and death. It was the endless loneliness. When Lady Su heard this, she was already sobbing. You, my silly child, what am I going to do if you do this? My heart hurts so much. Let me go in and be with you, my child. Mrs. Su cried her eyes out, especially when she saw with her own eyes that everyone had returned safely, except for Suyu, who was still asleep. Master Wu, how are we going to deal with him now? Lu Yin had been keeping a cool head. Suyu's soul seemed to be trapped in the dream and couldn't come back. Only a body was still in the real world, as if it was asleep. To put it nicely, he was asleep. To put it bluntly, he was in a vegetative state. Master Wu glanced at the sleeping Suyu and felt extremely depressed. He might always be in a deep sleep like this, never aging or dying, but he'll never wake up. Should we send him to the hospital? Give him a nutrient drip? Or something? Lu Yin said. No, he doesn't need anything. He just needs to lie here quietly. What if Suyu's body is in the real world? What would happen if he died in the dream? Lu Yin asked. Master Wu looked at Lu Yin with a complicated expression. Chapter 45:16. He'll die even in the dream. From now on, there will be no Suyu. No, I don't want it. Even if he doesn't wake up, I want his body to stay with me. No one is allowed to touch him. Lady Su was probably too worried, so when she heard Lu Yin and Master Wu's conversation, she immediately rushed over. She immediately rushed over to protect Suyu, thinking that someone was going to do something to him. Annie, don't worry. We will definitely protect Suyu's body and not let him get hurt again. Qin Chu's voice was extremely hoarse. He felt extremely guilty towards Suyu, but he was someone who could never express it. At this moment, in the dream, seeing the dream crumble bit by bit, everyone left the nightmare. At that moment, Suyu felt relieved. He had entered the dream a second time for this moment. He was not a savior. He was just a man who was willing to protect the woman he loved. He was Suyu. Suyu had once fantasized about what would happen to him after he killed all the dream creators and his friends returned to the real world. However, at this moment, he still felt inexplicably lonely. The dream creators were dead, and all the illusory scenes collapsed. There was no Suyu's villa, no South Hill Manor, and no Sea City. There was no Yunnan jungle or Arctic underwater world. All that was left in this world was a patch of gray. After that, there were no more tall buildings, no more heavy traffic. Suyu walked alone in the endless desert. He didn't need water or food. He wouldn't age, he wouldn't die, and he didn't need to sleep. No matter how far he walked, he couldn't walk out of this gray desert. He knew that this was the incomplete dream after his friends left and the dream creators died. His world alone. He also knew that he would never be able to get out of here. Perhaps he would be trapped here forever. After walking for some time, Suyu was a little disappointed. He didn't have the courage to continue walking, because no matter how long he walked, it was the same. This place would never change, and there was no sound. It was as if he was the only one in the world. Yes, that's right, he was the only one in the world. Suyu sat down tiredly and bent his knees. Then, he reached out and grabbed a handful of sand. He thought of the first time he met Mian, that cold, domineering, and sharp-tongued nurse who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He smiled. It was as if when he thought of Huamin's familiar face, Suyu felt that everything he did was worth it. In this spacious and uninhabited place, Suyu was so lonely that he wanted to cry. But he wouldn't. He knew that his friends had returned to the real world safely. This was the ending he wanted, wasn't it? After a while, Suyu opened his mouth. He wanted to sing. Yes, he suddenly wanted to sing a song. That graceful and low voice rang out. Just once is enough. I'll take you to see the end of time. Laughing on a sunny day, making noise in the free air, do you know that the only thing I want the world is still small? I'll accompany you to the ends of the earth in a corner without worries. Stop searching, slowly grow old in a carefree time. Do you know that my heart is beating with you? This was the love song that Suyu sang to Huamin at the anniversary celebration in front of so many people. This was the first time he had sung a love song in his life. Even now, he still liked it very much. If God gave him a chance to take care of Mian, just once. Chapter 45:17. Suyu at South Hill Manor. Huamin suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and called out Suyu's name. Honey, did you have a nightmare? Qin Chu quickly got up and hugged Huamin in his arms. Then, he kept comforting her. He patted her back gently, as if he was coaxing a child. Honey, I heard Suyu sing. Hearing Suyu's name, Qin Chu's eyes dimmed. Suyu's actions weren't approved by everyone, but Qin Chu understood him. If it were Qin Chu, he would have made the same choice as Suyu. Suyu was probably Qin Chu's most respected opponent and most special friend in his life. They fought side by side 4 times in the dream. They worked together to kill 4 dream creators. All of this was thanks to Suyu. However, when everything was done and everyone had left safely, the situation had changed. Suyu, on the other hand, was left there forever. As for them, there was nothing they could do. No one could do anything for Suyu. They couldn't even speak to Suyu anymore. Huamin had been in a daze recently. It had been almost a week since they returned to the real world. Everyone had accepted this cruel fact. Lu Yin and the professor had left. Lu Yin went to look for Qiao Fei. The professor returned to the headquarters to investigate the mastermind behind this incident. Gao Ran went back to work, and Zhu Lingling took the children to school. Jiang Xiaowei resigned from her position at the city bureau and opened her own psychological clinic. Wei Liao's father officially retired, and the Wei family was officially taken over by Wei Liao. Tang Chuan, on the other hand, drank himself to death every day and didn't do his job. Qi Ning returned to work at GK and helped Qin Chu manage the company's business. Bella didn't become a vegetable. She was still working well. Jixin was taking care of his sickly mother at Sky Blessing Court. Rick went back to the United States to deal with the family business, while Cece stayed in the city to wait for delivery. The twins are picked up by Qin Shu from the Su family. At first, Pudding and Lil Bean also cried sadly. Later, they gradually accepted the truth. Little Bean didn't like to eat as much anymore. She started thinking about losing weight. Pudding, on the other hand, was even quieter than before. In Suyu's villa, Suyu's body fell into a deep sleep. Shaoan wholeheartedly took care of his master. Master didn't leave either and stayed in Suyu's villa. Lady Su would make all kinds of delicious food and send it to her son every day. Then, she would chat with him for a while. Lord Su hadn't returned from the military region yet, so he didn't know about this yet. She heard that Mr. Su was seriously ill. His heart wasn't in good condition, so he went to America for surgery. The Su family used to be fine, but now they were homeless and miserable. Everyone had accepted the truth and was immersed in sorrow. Huomin's mental state became very bad. She started to be paranoid. Qin Chu had no choice but to take care of her carefully. After all, her due date was coming soon. Who knew when the child would be born? He still remembered what Suyu said to Qin Chu before he left the incubus. Take good care of this silly woman and give birth to Qin Guokua. Qin Chu recalled Suyu's expression and tone back then. He felt heartbroken. Mian, don't be too nervous. Relax. Qin Chu hugged her. Hubby, I'm not lying to you. Really, I think I heard Suyu sing. He sings very well, doesn't he? Every time he sings a love song, he pretends to be very affectionate. When he comes back, I'll definitely drag him to the KTV and sing a few songs for me. Qin Chu didn't say anything. After a while, Huomin reached out and shook Qin Chu's index finger. Then, she lowered her voice and asked, Hubby, yeah? So you'll come back, right? Huomin asked softly. Chapter 45:18. Faced with Hua Min's question, Qin Chu could only remain silent because he didn't know how to answer. Honey, you said that when I give birth, so you will definitely come back, right? He's so rich, and he still wants to give me a big gift. I want to take the opportunity to scam him. Qin Chu remained silent. Hubby, are you jealous? Are you afraid that I'll treat Suyu too well and neglect you? Mian, it's late. Go to bed early. Qin Chu hugged Huomin tightly in his arms and didn't give her a chance to speak. He covered her with a blanket. After another 10 minutes, the bedroom was silent. Then, Qin Chu heard a soft sob. Huomin was crying. She knew that what she said was unrealistic and was lying to herself. Qin Chu's heart ached, but he knew that with Huomin's IQ, she didn't need to be comforted. She could only slowly walk out of this sadness on her own at Su Yu's private mansion. Boss, it's time to wash your face. In the morning, and walked over with a basin of water. Then, after wetting the towel, he carefully wiped Su Yu's face. 3 days after returning to the real world. Soon, Su Yu's personal lawyer arrived. Before Su Yu entered the dream for the second time, he made a will plan. The company was handed over to Wei Liao and Tang Chuan, who each had half of the shares. However, Wei Liao was in charge of it for the time being. This was because Tang Chuan was not interested in business and drank all day long. Then, he gave his parents and grandfather his stocks and savings, including a Swiss bank account. So you still had 300 million genes. He gave them to Hua Min's 3 children, putting Little Bean and the unborn baby in her stomach. Each of them received 100 million yuan. From the moment the child was born, they would receive money every year until the child was 100 years old. Su Yu's car and private villa were given to him. He even gave in some shares of Imperial Star Group. Because Shaoan didn't know how to do business, Su Yu planned to give him a bonus every year for his sake. Su Yu's private villa and the dozens of luxury cars in the garage were also extremely expensive and had followed Su Yu for many years. In the end, Su Yu only hoped that he could get married, have children, and live a good life. However, when a lawyer asked Xiao and to transfer the ownership, he was rejected. He was very emotional at that time and chased the lawyer away. He even scolded loudly. "What do you mean by transferring? My boss is not dead. He will wake up," and didn't want money, a villa, or a car. He just wanted to stay here quietly and wait for his boss to come back. Master Wu also stayed behind. Every day, he would guard Su Yu. Although he didn't know what else he could do, he didn't know. At that moment, the doorbell rang. "Someone's here," Master Wu said. "I'll open the door." "Master Wu, you could go to the dining room. We'll be able to eat soon," and put down the towel in a low mood and wiped his hands. Then, he walked to the door and opened it, seeing who it was, and was stunned for a moment. Then, his emotions became complicated again. Han Yueyao was back. Han Yueyao had gone overseas to film with the production team for a long time. She didn't know what had happened during this time. However, when she came back from filming, she heard that something had happened to her boss. She didn't even put on makeup. She wore a mask and came to Su Yu's house with her hair disheveled. "And where's President Su?" "In the room," and pointed. "Let me see." Han Yueyao rushed in impatiently and rushed into the room. When she saw the sleeping Su Yu, her heart almost broke. "What the fuck is going on? I just went out to film. Why did the boss become like this?" Han Yueyao stood in front of Su Yu's bed and started crying. Chapter 45:19. "Miss Han, don't cry yet. I'm not done wiping the boss's face yet. Can you cry later?" And could understand Han Yueyao's feelings, but seeing her cry so loudly, he reminded her slightly. Upon hearing that he was going to wipe Su Yu's face, Han Yueyao immediately volunteered. "I'll do it. Give me the towel. Give it to me. Don't dawdle. I'm a woman, after all. I'm more meticulous than you." "All right, then I'll have to trouble you." And couldn't persuade Han Yueyao, and could only give her the towel. Han Yueyao sat in front of Su Yu's bed and carefully wet the towel. Then, she gently wiped Su Yu's cheeks. Then, she did it with his hands. After wiping his face, Han Yueyao took out a nail clipper from her bag. She began to trim Su Yu's nails, seeing how much Han Yueyao cared about Su Yu, and was filled with emotions. So many things had happened in the dream, and Miss Han had confessed to the boss. Unfortunately, that was all in the dream. "Miss Han, do you like the boss?" and blurted out. Han Yueyao's back stiffened. Then, without looking back, she said, "Yeah, maybe the whole world knows that I like Su Yu. Only he doesn't know." "No, the boss knows." "He knows?" Han Yueyao was stunned. She turned around and looked at him curiously. "Yeah, boss knows how you feel about him. In the nightmare, we experienced a lot. There was a fictional version of you, but you looked exactly like the real you. That version of you confessed to boss in the dream, and a lot of things happened." She had vaguely heard about Su Yu and the others entering the nightmare. Hearing N's words, Han Yueyao had mixed feelings. "Really? Then in my dream, did I take down Su Yu and sleep with him?" Han Yueyao pursed her lips and asked. "Not really, but you and the boss are already very, very good friends. The boss treats you very well." This time, the boss even told Mr. Wei and the others that after they take over the company, they have to spare no effort to support you and make you the most popular celebrity. "Who cares if I'm popular or not? I don't care. Back then, I only did this to earn money so that my parents could live a better life." Then she put down Su Yu's hand with tears in her eyes. "When is this guy going to wake up? Seriously, he's such a good sleeper," and remained silent. "Shaoan, I want to drink some wine. Do you have it at home?" "Yes, but it's so early in the morning. Won't drinking hurt your spleen and stomach?" "If I want to drink, I'll drink. Who cares so much?" Then she wiped her tears and turned to leave. After packing up, and hurried to the dining room with Han Yueyao. Han Yueyao had never seen Master Wu before, so she glanced at him. "Ah, this is my boss's master, Master Wu." Han Yueyao nodded slightly in greeting. "This is my boss's employee," and introduced awkwardly. Master Wu didn't say anything, and took out a bottle of red wine and placed it in front of Han Yueyao. "I don't want red wine. I want white wine," Han Yueyao said, and sweated and returned the red wine to the wine cabinet. He took out a bottle of Maodai. "Give me a bottle too," Master Wu said. "What day is it today? Why are you drinking white wine so early in the morning? Is that okay?" And said as he placed the white wine on the table. "And I want to give birth to Su Yu's child," Han Yueyao suddenly said as she held the white wine bottle. Master Wu and him were stunned. Then they both looked at Han Yueyao. Chapter 45:20. And in Master Wu were both dumbfounded. Han Yueyao poured herself a glass of white wine and took a small sip. Then she continued, "I heard that Su Yu's sperm has been frozen. As long as I'm willing, I can give birth to his child using IVF technology." And looked at Han Yueyao in shock. In the dream, Han Yueyao had said the same thing, but not to him but to Lady Su. She didn't expect this to happen again in the real world. Miss Han, and had mixed feelings and didn't know what to say. However, in his heart, if President Su didn't come back, it would be a good thing for the Su family and Su Yu to have a descendant. However, Miss Han was so young and beautiful with a limitless future. She was the most promising female celebrity promoted by Imperial Star. If she chose to have a child with IVF at this time, how was she going to live the rest of her life? Did she really have to watch over Su Yu, who was in a deep sleep? "Miss, don't be rash. We all know how you feel about Su Yu. But this isn't a small matter. You can't just give birth like a child." Master Wu was very rational. He also wanted to persuade Han Yueyao not to be rash and not do something she would regret. After all, giving birth to Su Yu's child wasn't something that could happen immediately. It still depended on whether the Su family agreed or not. "Master, don't try to persuade me. I'm a stubborn person. I'll definitely do what I've decided. I'm not being rash. I like Su Yu. I'm willing to do anything for Su Yu. Even if he is no longer in this world, I'm still willing." With that, Han Yueyao downed a mouthful of white wine. She could be said to be a heroine. Han Yueyao liked Su Yu. This was a secret that everyone knew, even though things didn't progress as fast in the real world as in the dream. However, it still couldn't change Han Yueyao's fondness for Su Yu. She really liked him deeply. When she went overseas to film, she would check Su Yu's WeChat moments and Weibo every day to see if he had updated his status. She even asked about Su Yu's recent situation from the company. She wanted to work hard and bring glory to the company. If she had the chance, she would sing a song for Su Yu at the celebration party and confess her love. Unfortunately, she didn't have the chance. Who would have thought that Su Yu would become like this without warning? Before Su Yu's accident, Han Yueyao didn't even have the time to meet him. When she heard that Su's accident, she was dumbfounded. She was in disbelief. It wasn't until she came to Su Yu's house and saw Su Yu's body that she realized what had happened. It wasn't a dream or a prank. Su Yu, she had forgotten that a gossip magazine reported that the Su family froze their baby because Su Yu refused to get married. Then, many scheming bitches tried to get their hands on Su Yu's baby so that they could enter the Su family. Even if they didn't enter the Su family, they would be able to live a carefree life because of their children. However, it was said that Su Yu's baby was in a military hospital and was heavily protected. Without the permission of Su Yu and the Su family, no one could enter. Therefore, Han Yueyao's impromptu idea had to depend on the Su family's decision. "Miss Han, we all know that you're good, my boss, but I don't think we can make the decision on such a big matter. You better discuss it with Andy. Besides, you're an unmarried girl. If you do such a thing, what will happen to you in the future? Do you still want to get married?" Chapter 45:21. "I'll talk to Annie Su." Han Yueyao glanced at him and said firmly. It was as if she had already made up her mind about this matter. "Let's eat. Everyone must be hungry. Let's see if my food is to your liking. And picked up some food from Master Wu and Han Yueyao. Han Yueyao didn't move her chopsticks. Instead, she downed the white wine in her glass. Then, she stood up. I can't eat anymore. I'll leave first. I'll come and see Suyu again. With that, Han Yueyao left without looking back, afraid that others would see the tears in her eyes. This girl is pretty good, Master Wu commented after Han Yueyao left, and sighed as he poured wine from Master Wu. Yeah, I think Miss Han is a good person too, but it can't be helped. It doesn't matter who says she's good. My boss doesn't like her. Is it because of that female doctor? Master Wu asked in a hem. You know everything. So you told me. Huh? My boss told you about Dr. Hua? Yeah, he told me a little. I saw that kid yesterday too. I can tell that he's a good person. Master Wu recalled Huamin at the mention of Huamin and let out another long sigh. Of course, Dr. Hua has nothing to say. Anyone who knows her character will like her. She's a very independent girl with her own personality. She's magnanimous and calm, and she's been really good to my boss these few years. However, no matter how good Dr. Hua is, she has a family and children. She can be friends with my boss, but as for a relationship, there's no chance. That's why it's an ill-fated relationship. Master Wu sighed. He knew that if it weren't for Huamin, Suyu wouldn't have risked his life to enter the dream a second time. Of course, a person's heart was limited. If it contained one person, it wouldn't be able to contain another. Therefore, no matter how good the others were, Suyu couldn't see them. No matter how imperfect Huamin was, she was still Suyu's true love. South Hill Manor. After answering Lu Yan's call, Qin Shu went upstairs to check on Huamin worriedly. After Lu Yan and the professor left, she was worried about Huamin. Lu Yan called from time to time to ask about Huamin. Huamin's situation was very bad. Almost every time she opened her mouth, the two words Suyu would not leave her mouth. Pudding and Little Bean would cry every time their mother mentioned Handsome Sue. In the end, the three of them hugged each other and cried. As for Qin Shu, the head of the family, as a husband and as a father, he felt even more upset. Qin Shu hung up the phone and went upstairs. When she entered the bedroom, she found that Huamin had already finished washing up. You're up, honey. Qin Shu greeted her gently. Huamin nodded. The weather forecast said that it's getting warmer today. It looks like winter is almost over. So I took out the cashmere coat you bought for me last year. Does it make me look younger? Huamin was wearing a cashmere coat that Qin Shu bought for her when he went to Hong Kong on a business trip. The style was simple but beautiful. The beige color made Huamin look a lot more energetic. If one didn't look at her round belly and only looked at her face, one would think that she was a young and energetic college student. Mian, are you going out? Seeing her dressed like this, Qin Shu knew that she was going out. Yeah, I'm going to Southside today to visit my old colleagues and do a prenatal checkup to check on the baby. I'll go with you. It's okay. You go to work. I can go by myself. No, I'll go with you. Qin Shu insisted on going with her. After all, Suyu's incident was a big blow to Huamin. He was afraid that she would be distracted and have an accident. Honey, can you buy Southside for me? Huamin walked over slowly and wrapped her arms around Qin Shu's neck, acting like a spoiled child. Chapter 45:22. Qin Shu hugged Huamin and was slightly surprised. Why do you want to buy Southside? Because I want to fight for my dignity. Because of Zheng Ro, President Wu, and I lost our jobs because of her father. Now that I'm back at Southside, I'm not the deputy director anymore. The baby is unhappy. Seeing Huamin's coquettish tone, Qin Shu smiled deeply. Okay, buy it. If you like it, we'll buy it. Then I want to be the director this time, not the deputy director. Okay, if you like it, I'll buy all the hospitals in C-City for you. No, I like Southside. Okay. Qin Shu would never refuse Huamin's request. It was rare for his beloved wife to take the initiative to ask for something. How could Qin Shu not agree to it? Then, after breakfast, Qin Shu drove Huamin to Southside for a prenatal checkup. The twins were picked up by Tang Xuan and Qin Ning and sent to the Su family's house. This was Qin Shu's idea. He was afraid that Lady Su would be too sad, so the twins didn't go to school for the next few days. Every day, They went back and forth between South Hill Manor and the Sue family's old mansion. When the twins arrived, Lord Sue and Mr. Sue happened to be back. After hearing about what happened to Suyu, the old man seemed to have aged a lot overnight. Then, he didn't say a word and just smoked. "Dad, take care of yourself. Don't smoke so much," Mr. Sue advised. "I'm already so old. Even if I die now, it's worth it." "But my poor you, he's only 30 years old." As Lord Sue spoke, the whole family cried together. When the twins entered, they saw this sad scene. Little Bean quickly ran over and climbed into Lord Sue's arms. She wiped the old man's tears. "Great-grandpa, be good. Don't cry. I have durian candy for you." As she spoke, Little Bean took out a piece from her pocket and stuffed it into the old man's mouth. The old man was also unyielding. He had worked hard in the army all his life, and his bones were firm and unyielding. When she saw the two children, she forced herself to hold back her tears. "Great-grandpa, I think handsome Sue will come back. He won't leave us behind. Look, we love him so much," Little Bean said. Master Lord Sue nodded with tears in his eyes. He didn't say anything else, but he felt even worse. Pudding, on the other hand, brought tissues to Mr. and Mrs. Sue. Then, he didn't say anything and just silently accompanied her. "Pudding, did you miss your Uncle Sue?" Lady Sue hugged Pudding and rubbed her face against Pudding's as she asked in a hoarse voice. "Yes, I really do. I dream of him almost every night," Pudding said. "Good child." Lady Sue still wanted to say something, but the moment she opened her mouth, it was filled with tears. "Lord Sue, Grandma Sue, Great-grandpa, we're all sad to see handsome Sue like this, but we have to be strong. I'm sure handsome Sue doesn't want us to be like this." Pudding is right. "You definitely doesn't like us crying," Mr. Sue said as he wiped his tears. "Our handsome Sue will definitely wake up. He's just too tired and is sleeping. We don't have to be so sad." Little Bean's childish voice echoed in the empty living room, but everyone's hearts felt even heavier. Suyu wasn't dead, but if he didn't wake up, it was no different from being dead. He kept giving everyone hope, but he also disappointed them. At this moment, Lady Sue thought of something. She looked at Lord Sue and said, "Dad, about that girl. My dad and I both think it's feasible. What do you think? As long as you agree, we can take it out." "No, I don't agree." Lord Sue refused immediately. Chapter 45-23. Lady Sue looked at her husband. The two of them looked at each other and didn't dare to speak. Master Lord Sue continued, "I understand how you feel. I also want our Sue family to have a descendant, but we can't harm her. She's a pure and innocent girl. She's not our surrogate. Why should she give birth to our family's child? It's fine if he wakes up, but if he doesn't, how is she going to live the rest of her life? Yu's situation is already a tragedy for our Sue family. We can't implicate others." "Dad," Lady Sue wanted to say something. "Don't say any more. I don't agree with this. I won't do something that goes against my family just because my grandson is gone. Besides, Yu's gone. What's the use of having a child? As the old saying goes, if the pot is gone, what's the use of buying a pot lid?" Master Lord Sue's meaning was obvious. Suyu was irreplaceable in his heart. Even if they used IVF to give birth to a child with the Sue family's genes, what was the use? Could he replace Suyu? Obviously not. Suyu's position in this family was irreplaceable. After Huamin went to Southside, he talked to some of his old colleagues. Then, he did a prenatal checkup and saw that the baby was fine. Qin Chu helped Huamin into the car. "Are you hungry? Shall I take you to eat?" Huamin shook his head. "I've already discussed the acquisition of the hospital. It'll probably take a week. When you give birth, this hospital will be our family's." "Okay. Are you feeling unwell?" Seeing that Huamin wasn't in a good mood, Qin Chu asked carefully. "I want to see Suyu." "Okay." Faced with Huamin's request, Qin Chu didn't say anything and drove Huamin to Suyu's mansion. As soon as they arrived, Qin Chu received a call from Qin Ning. She said that Tang Chuan was drunk and got into a fight with someone. Qin Chu quickly drove to Tang Chuan's place. After Hua Min entered, he took off his jacket. He was only wearing a light green knitted sweater inside. President Hua, and had been Hua Min's chauffeur for more than 3 years to protect her. Therefore, he was used to calling him President Hua Min. Yes, have you guys eaten? Yes, I have. I'm here to see Su Yu, Hua Mian said. Okay, I'll take you there. No need. You do what you need to do. I'll go in and have a look. Then, Hua Min's Su. He had changed into comfortable pajamas. They were white, Su Yu's favorite color. Su Yu's face was very clean, and washed his face and shaved his beard every morning. There was no trace of sloppiness at all. Hua Min made a small stool and sat down in front of Su Yu's bed. Then, she glanced at Su Yu's dry lips. She took out a cotton swab from her bag. She took out the mineral water she carried with her. She wet the cotton swab and wiped Su Yu's lips. As she wiped, she spoke. I went to the hospital for a checkup today. The baby is very healthy and his heartbeat is very strong. Everyone said that he will be a strong young man in the future. It's very close to his due date. He might be out in less than a week. You must be happy for him, right? You said, when I give birth, you will prepare a big gift for me. So you have to wake up early. Don't go back on your word. Do you hear me? You have to buy a gift, and it has to be very, very expensive. I know you're rich, so I have to scam you. Hua Min smiled after she finished speaking. However, her words did not receive any response. Su Yu was still in a deep sleep. Even his eyelashes did not move. Chapter 45-24. Hua Min smiled and continued. Today, I begged my husband to buy South Side for me. Isn't that rich? I want to learn from you. You spent a lot of money. After buying South Side, I can continue to be the director. When the time comes, you have to support me. When you wake up, tell all the employees of Imperial Star that they have to go to South Side twice a day. That way, I won't have to worry about not having business. Hua Min muttered to himself in Su Yu's room and listened at the door for a while and felt a little uncomfortable. Master Wu, why do I feel like President Hua is crazy? Why is he talking to my boss alone? And walked over and said to Master Wu, what do you know? This is called longing. Master Wu shook his head and looked at him as he said that Hua Mian was crazy. This kid was drunk. All right. I can't understand what you cultured people are saying. I'm going to buy groceries. Today, I'm going to make squirrel mandarin fish. It's my boss's favorite. If he wakes up, he'll be able to eat delicious fish and place his hopes on every day. He even imagined that one day, when he woke up, he would see his boss in a bathrobe, drinking beer, playing with his phone, and watching football in the living room. That would be a very, very big surprise. After and left, Hua Min sat alone in Su Yu's room for a while and talked to Su Yu for a while. Then he got up. I'm leaving first. You have to wake up early. I'll come and see you in a few days. I'll bring you flowers. Do you like lilies or hyacinths? There was still no response. If you don't say anything, that means you like both. I'll buy some of both then. Then, Hua Min picked up his bag and left. As soon as he left, he saw Master Wu standing at the door. He was smoking a cigarette. Hua Min glanced at Master Wu's cigarette. He immediately put it out. Sorry, I'm addicted to smoking. It's okay. I'm about to give birth, so it won't affect me, Hua Min said. Can we talk? All right. Knowing that this person was Su Yu's master and that he was a good person who had helped them a lot, Hua Min agreed to Master Wu's request. The two of them walked to the balcony and looked at the scenery of the neighborhood. Master Wu spoke first. I know that the person Su Yu can't let go of is actually you. He entered the dream a second time. He said it was for everyone, but it was still to save you. Hua Min didn't say anything, but he felt a lump in his throat and wanted to cry. I've finally seen this kid's temper. He's as stubborn as an old bull. Even as his master, he wouldn't listen to me. I even told him that he was rich and powerful and didn't need anything. He had finally escaped from the nightmare, so he should just live a good life and not go back. But he didn't want to. He even used the fastest way to go back. He didn't even greet his family. He's afraid that his family will be sad, Hua Min said. Master Wu nodded. There were many people that day, so I was too embarrassed to tell you some things, especially since your man was there. Tell me today. Hua Min was still calm. Master Wu took out a crumpled note from his pocket. Then, he handed it to Hua Min. This is what this kid wrote before he entered the dream a second time. He said, "If there's a chance, he wanted me to give this to you." Before Huamin could read it, Master Wu added, "It's not a deposit slip or a check. It's just a sentence he wrote. Let me make it clear in advance that I didn't peek." Huamin took the note with a heavy heart. Her rationality told her that she shouldn't open this. She shouldn't read it. Reading it would only make her feel worse. However, her emotions told her that this was written by Su Yu himself and was the last thing he left for her. Just like that, after some hesitation, Huamin opened the note that Su Yu had written. Chapter 45-25. In the next life, can it be you instead? Shed your pride and love me so much that you go crazy. When Huamin finished reading this sentence, her tears fell like a broken string of beads. It was confirmed that it was Su Yu's handwriting. Even the note was crumpled. Such a literary style was not like Su Yu's usual tone. But Huamin knew that he must have written it, because he knew that after entering the dream for the second time, he would never come back. Whether he could save everyone or not, he would never come back. So, writing such words under that kind of mood was probably the truest feeling in Su Yu's heart. Ever since Qin Chu came back from the United States and reunited with her, Su Yu had been suppressing his feelings for Huamin. He didn't dare to let others see it and deliberately kept a distance from her. He even reduced the number of times they met and rarely met alone. It was to avoid arousing suspicion. It wasn't that he was afraid that Qin Chu would be jealous. It was just because Su Yu knew that Huamin had a complete family, a man who loved her deeply, and her children. And as an intruder, he appeared later than Qin Chu. The most important thing was that Huamin only had Qin Chu in her heart from the beginning to the end. Su Yu knew that there was no hope in this life. Even if Qin Chu didn't come back from the United States, his proposal wouldn't have succeeded, because Huamin couldn't change the price. Especially after giving birth to Qin Chu's children, it was even more impossible for her to remarry him. Su Yu used to be an atheist. Later, when he saw Huamin occasionally practicing Buddhism, he was more or less influenced. Later, he even believed in the past life and the present life. Buddhism said that people had 3 lives of karma. What they cultivated in the past life, they would suffer in this life, and what they cultivated in this life, they would enjoy in the next life. Therefore, Su Yu wondered if there was really an afterlife. Could he be given a chance to take care of Huamin just once? Just once would be enough. Master Wu did not peek at what was written on the note, but he could roughly guess. After all, Su Yu's words were like his last words. Huamin wouldn't feel good if he heard them. Huamin's hands trembled violently as he held the note. Then, she cried for a very long time. In the end, the baby in her stomach moved violently, and she managed to control her emotions. The baby seemed to have sensed his mother's agitation as well. He was so scared that he kept turning around in her stomach. Huamin gasped for breath. He felt like he was about to suffocate. No one had ever made her feel so bad before, not even when Huasiqian died. Huamin saw with his own eyes that in the dream, Huasiqian snatched her explosives and wanted to die together with Layla. Then he was blown to pieces. That scene was already heartbreaking. But now, Su Yu had left her this message in the real world, even though he was in her dream. Huamin felt a sharp pain in his chest. "Child, are you okay?" Master Wu was a little worried. After all, Huamin was a pregnant woman who was about to give birth. Huamin was crying so hard that he couldn't speak. He just kept shaking his head. "Calm down. You're still pregnant." After a while, Huamin gradually calmed down. "Master Wu, did Su Yu say anything else when he gave you this note?" "He didn't say anything." I could tell that he was quite conflicted and almost tore it apart. In the end, I said that if he wanted to say goodbye, he should say goodbye properly. A man shouldn't be shy, so he decided to leave this for you. I actually thought about not giving it to you. After all, Su Yu is already like this. You'll only feel bad if you see this, but if I don't give it to you, it's equivalent to depriving him of his last chance to talk to you. So, Master Wu didn't feel good either and kept smoking. "Master Wu, can you think of a way to send me into the dream to accompany Su Yu?" Huamin suddenly asked him. Chapter 45:26. Mian, what are you doing? Master Wu froze for a moment. The cigarette ash burned his fingers. I want to accompany Su Yu. Don't do anything stupid. Calm down. Su Yu has already sacrificed himself to send everyone back. If you go back like this, his sacrifice will be in vain. Do you know that the biggest reason why Su Yu is so determined to enter the dream a second time is because of you? He'll only be at ease if you're doing well. Master Wu understood his disciple's bad temper. Huamin was really Su Yu's tribulation. But I'm not doing well. I miss Su Yu. Whenever I think about my friend being left alone in that lonely and cold place and being trapped for the rest of his life, or even forever, I can't sleep or eat in peace. How can I be fine? Master Wu moved his lips, wanting to say something, but he didn't know how to refute Huamin. Master Wu, tell me the truth. Where is Su Yu trapped? How long will he be trapped? Is he not even going to have a chance to reincarnate? Huamin looked at Master Wu with tears in her eyes. I really don't know about this, because I've never experienced it before. But logically speaking, he should be trapped there forever. Huamin clutched her chest and looked up, tears rolling down her face. I don't want Su Yu to be like that. It's unfair to him. What did he do wrong? To be punished like this? Those dream creators came for me, for Yin, and for my father, for the Red Demon. It has nothing to do with Su Yu. I can't let him bear such serious consequences. Master Wu, I beg you, send me in. Huamin wanted Master Wu to send her into the dream. It's not that I don't want to help you. Mian, the dream creator is dead. That dream is already a deserted place. There's no exit, but there's no entrance either. I can't send you in. Hearing that Master Wu couldn't do anything, Huamin was in despair. She only felt her vision go black, and then she completely fainted on the ground. When she woke up again, she was already in the VIP ward at Southside. Qin Chu sat beside her, guarding her. Qin Chu's eyes were bloodshot, and his beard was unshaven. It seemed that he had been unconscious for a long time. Hubby, don't move. Lie down. Qin Chu immediately pressed her down. Hubby, how long have I been asleep? 1 day and 1 night. Qin Chu said. So you've been sitting here for a day and a night? Huamin asked him. Qin Chu gave a haggard smile. Even the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes could be clearly seen. Are you stupid? Don't you need to sleep? Huamin looked at Qin Chu with heartache. Are you stupid? Don't you care about her child? Qin Chu asked her. Huamin felt extremely guilty. She was indeed a little selfish. She wanted to find Su Yu and repay Su Yu's kindness. However, she ignored her husband, her daughters, and the child in her belly. Hubby, I'm sorry. Don't say sorry. There's no need to say sorry between us anymore. Qin Chu, can forgive you whatever you do, Huamin, even if it means destroying the world. But please don't leave me behind. You know, I can't lose you never. Qin Chu's tone was gentle, and every word was clear. He reached out and held Huamin's wrist like a pitiful child who was about to be abandoned. Huamin had never seen Qin Chu like this. At this moment, he was so helpless and terrified. Mian, don't leave me behind. If you want to leave, take me with you. Chapter 45:27. Huamin's impulse was probably because he saw the note Su Yu left behind. After Huamin fainted, Master Wu quickly called in, and then quickly found Qin Chu. Master Wu put away the note and burned it. Although it was nothing, he couldn't let Qin Chu see it. Otherwise, he would feel terrible. After calming down, Huamin calmed down a lot. Jixin and Bella brought young Meiyerong to the hospital to accompany Huamin. With his family around, Huamin's mood was better. Bella didn't enter the dream, just like the twins. Therefore, she was in a good state of mind. Jixin, did you tell Sis about that? Bella looked at Jixin shyly. You should announce this yourself, Jixin said with a smile. Let Mom do it. I'm embarrassed. Bella held Yang Meirong's hand. Yang Meirong wiped Huamin's forehead with a handkerchief and said with a smile, Mian, Bella is pregnant. Really? That's a good thing. Huamin's eyes lit up. This was probably the best news he had heard recently. Yeah, it's been more than a month. but the two kids didn't say anything. I just found out. You're going to be an aunt. Yeah, I'm going to be an aunt. When the babies are born, I have to give them a big gift, Huamin mumbled. Jixin quickly interrupted her. I don't want any big gifts. Sis, you've done enough for me all these years. I just want you to live a safe and happy life. Tears welled up in Huamin's eyes. Seeing that Huamin was about to cry, Bella quickly continued. Sis, I only have one request. Can you give me some of Little Bean's and Pudding's childhood clothes? I'll save money and buy them for the babies. No, our baby can't wear old clothes. He has to wear new ones. I'll take care of all his clothes, Huamin said with a smile. Qin Shu was at the door. He was relieved when he saw Huamin's smile through the glass window. Then, he called the professor and drove to the Su family's house. This was also the first time that Qin Shu had paid a visit to Su Yu's family after the incident. Su family mansion. When the guard saw Qin Shu's license plate number, he let him pass. Qin Shu's visit this time was different from the past. He didn't buy anything and came empty-handed. It was Lady Su who opened the door. Seeing Qin Shu, Lady Su nodded. Shu, you're here. Auntie, come in. Everyone is here. Your Lord Su is also home. How is Lord Su? Old Master's old illness is acting up again. He's been coughing recently. It was obvious that the Su family was still silent and sad. The twins had been staying at the Su family's house for the past few days. With the two children here, the Su family's house didn't seem so empty. Daddy, you're here. Little Bean ran over when she saw Qin Shu. Daddy, is Mommy here? Little Bean asked. No, your mommy is about to give birth. She has to stay in the hospital for the next few days. Qin Shu squatted down and patted Little Bean's head. Then, he pinched Little Bean's face. He had been so busy these past few days that he didn't have the mood to take care of the two children. Fortunately, they were sensible. They also lived well in the Su family. They didn't cry or make a fuss. This saved Qin Shu a lot of trouble. These past few days, Mian alone was enough for him to worry about. Wow, so soon? Qin Guogua is coming out, right? Then I'll have a new toy in the future. Little Bean clapped her hands and said, Qin Guogua? What do you mean? Lady Su was stunned by the two children. Chapter 45-28. Little Bean immediately grabbed Lady Su's hand and said with a smile, Qin Guogua is my brother's nickname. It means that he will often be the scapegoat in the future. You child, that's a terrible name. Don't call him that. Lady Su chided with a smile. Auntie, is Uncle home? He just went out to do something. He'll probably be back later. You can eat here later. I'll call him. Okay. Qin Shu nodded. Then, after hugging the two children, he got up and went upstairs to Lord Su's study. When Qin Shu entered, Grandpa Su was reading something with his reading glasses. Seeing Qin Shu enter, he put down his things. Only then did Qin Shu see clearly that it was a photo of Su Yu in military uniform. Before Qin Shu could speak, Grandpa Su took the initiative to say, this was taken when you first joined the army. At that time, he was still arrogant and unruly. He was a famous troublemaker in the southwest military region. No army was willing to take him. Later, I made up my mind and sent him to the special forces. Qin Shu felt very guilty. He lowered his head and said to Lord Su, Lord Su, I'm sorry. It's all because of us that Su Yu. Hey Chu, let's not talk about this. I know Yu's personality. If he was a coward and lived on his own without caring about anyone else, I would be angry. That's how a man of the Su family should behave. My grandson did the right thing, and as his grandfather, I'm proud of him. I'm even more relieved that he was able to save everyone. Grandpa Su spoke from the bottom of his heart. Although something happened to Su Yu, Grandpa Su felt that his grandson did nothing wrong and was the pride of the Su family. Qin Shu didn't say anything, but he felt very sad. Su Yu was the only son of the Su family. Lord Su only had one precious grandson. But now, when Yu was young, he had a fiery temper. His father and I beat him up a lot, but he just wouldn't give in. He's really stubborn. Later, when he went to the military, his temper became even worse. Haha, he's very similar to me. When his grandmother was alive, she always said that you is exactly like me. He's the root of the Su family. After hearing this, Chinshu walked over and picked up Suyu's photo from the table. It was indeed very old. When Suyu joined the army, he was only in his teens and hadn't even finished school. Moreover, he was a special forces soldier. He would definitely suffer a lot. In Chinshu's mind, he kept thinking about how Suyu had fought alongside him. The subtle friendship that the two of them had established. If not for Suyu, they would not have known that they were in a dream, let alone the four dream creators. It was true that Suyu had saved everyone, but it was also true that Suyu had sacrificed himself. Master Lord Su, Mian and I are very sad about Suyu. I'm a person with a sharp tongue, so I won't say anything. I just want to tell you that from now on, Mian and I, Pudding and Little Bean will be your closest relatives. We will always take care of you, Annie Su and Uncle Su. I will be filial to you on behalf of Suyu. After saying this, Chinshu knelt down in front of Lord Su. However, before he could touch the ground, the old man reached out to help him up. Chu, I understand your intentions. I'm satisfied with your words. You don't have to kneel to me. I appreciate your intentions. I've seen you in Mian's characters for the past few years, and I've treated you like my own children. So, there's no need for us to say this. It's enough that we have it in our hearts. Although he said that, Chinshu still felt that Lord Su had aged a lot overnight. Master Lord Su, I'm here today because I have something important to report to you. Chinshu's expression was serious. Chapter 45-29. Okay, sit down and talk. Lord Su pointed at the armchair beside him and asked Chinshu to sit down. My father-in-law, Mian's father, Professor Liu, just called me. He found some clues. These might be related to the boss behind the four dream creators. And this person is in China now. Take a look. Do you recognize these signs? As he spoke, Chinshu took out his phone and showed Lord Su some photos. Lord Su's expression changed drastically. Chu, where did you get these? They were all given to me by my father-in-law, Professor Liu. Is it accurate? Is the source reliable? Yes, it's very reliable. My father-in-law has a good relationship with the higher-ups of the FBI and can use a lot of high-level documents. After Chinshu said this, the old man fell silent. However, his eyes were fixed on the photos. It was obvious that he recognized them. Chinshu continued. The four dream creators came from a mysterious organization in the world called the Doomsday Death God. This organization has existed for 30 years, and outsiders don't know the exact number of members and whereabouts. They only know that it's a secret assassin organization. However, they don't know that their assassin identities are only on the surface. In fact, they've been doing some ambitious experiments. The red demon that my father-in-law developed many years ago is one of their treasures. This time, they went all out. The four dream creators weaved a huge net for us. If it weren't for Suyu, all of us might have died inside. Now that the dream creators are dead, the conspiracy hasn't stopped. My father-in-law once found some key passwords on one of the dream creators, the one who pretended to be Dr. Linya. After returning to the real world, my father-in-law spent 3 days to crack the passwords and found these photos. What does the professor mean now? Lord Su asked Chinshu. His meaning is very simple. He asked me to show these to you. You've been in the military for many years, so you must know these. You might already know who they are. I do know these, and I do know this person. Lord Su's expression was complicated. Is he from the military? Chinshu asked tentatively. I really didn't expect him to have such power. Perhaps you don't know, but he retired 3 years ago. He's been living in a paradise near his hometown in Shaanxi, Mount Zhongnan. He doesn't care about worldly affairs. I always thought that he was the most aloof and free person among us elders. I didn't expect him to have such wild ambitions. He actually wants to obtain the Red Demon. Lord Su, you also know what the Red Demon is. Chinshu was somewhat surprised. Of course, this is top secret. Only a few people know about it. Back then, we wanted to get our hands on it too. Later, after weighing the pros and cons, we gave up. If mankind wants to develop in the long term, We must not develop anything related to nuclear weapons. Otherwise, once the war breaks out, Earth will cease to exist. Although our country may think this way, other countries may not. Russia and America have always been restless. Otherwise, they would not have detained your father-in-law until now. It's not appropriate for a commoner like me to comment on national affairs. Chu, leave this matter to me. If it's really him, then I'll settle the score with him. Because my grandson was destroyed by him. Okay. After leaving Lord Su's house, Qin Shu went to the villa in the suburbs. Layla had once been imprisoned here, but after Linya died, Layla was reduced to ashes. Now, the person locked up here was Zheng Ro. Qin Shu, you actually came back alive? Zheng Ro was captured by Su Yu and was later tied up by Master Wu in the basement of the Su family. After Qin Shu returned, he ordered someone to move her away, but he had never interacted with her directly. Chapter 45-30. Qin Shu glanced at Zheng Ro's face coldly. What? You didn't expect this, did you? Yes, it seems like after Su Yu entered the dream for the second time, you guys worked together to kill all the dream creators. Zheng Ro had met Su Yu before and knew what Su Yu was going to do. Even though she was a hypnotist, it was inevitable that she had some true feelings for Su Yu. Therefore, when she heard that Su Yu was going to enter the dream for the second time, Zheng Ro was agitated and strongly opposed it. However, it did not stop Su Yu's final decision. Now that Qin Shu and the others had left the dream safe and sound, Su Yu's fate was obvious. Yes. Zheng Ro looked up and looked into Qin Shu's eyes with a complicated expression. She asked him, "So where's Su Yu?" He stayed there. Yes. Qin Shu replied with one word. Zheng Ro's heart ached when she heard that. Su Yu, that fool. In the end, he's still willing to sacrifice himself for Huamin. Those who are trapped in the nightmare forever have no afterlife or present life. They only have endless loneliness. Zheng Ro, let's negotiate. Qin Shu didn't want to hear Zheng Ro sigh. He just wanted to talk to her about serious matters. I'm already like this. I'm just a prisoner. How can I negotiate? Zheng Ro sneered. Tell me how to save Su Yu. I'll let you go and not hurt you at all, Qin Shu said. Zheng Ro suddenly looked up and smiled sharply. You want to save Su Yu? Yes. Qin Shu, you have to know that he's your love rival. Without Su Yu, now that Hua Xiqian is dead and Su Yu is gone, Huamin is yours alone. Why do you still want to save him? Zheng Ro might not understand that Qin Shu and Su Yu were love rivals and found it unbelievable. But he's also my best friend, Qin Shu. Qin Shu said word by word. Zheng Ro was shocked and in disbelief, but in the end, she understood. So, tell me how to save Su Yu, no matter the cost. Seeing Huamin in pain, Qin Shu not only couldn't bear to see his wife's tea, but he also couldn't leave Su Yu alone in the nightmare. Otherwise, these people who were still alive would never be able to sleep. After all, their peaceful life was exchanged for by Su Yu's life. If that's the case, then I'll tell you the truth. There's no way to solve Su Yu's problem. Impossible. Qin Shu frowned slightly, his voice wavering. It doesn't matter if you believe me or not. I'm not lying. All the dream creators are dead, and the nightmare has collapsed. There's not even an entrance. No one can save Su Yu. Just accept your fate. Ha! Isn't it contradictory? If the dream creators don't die, they might still have a chance to send Su Yu out. But if the dream creators don't die, you people won't wake up from your dreams. So, this is really contradictory. Qin Shu, it's impossible to save Su Yu. It's useless even if you find anyone. This is the truth. If I had a way, do you think I would watch Su Yu stay in that godforsaken place forever? Zheng Ro smiled as tears rolled down her cheeks. As a hypnotist, she had long lost her feelings and heart. However, Su Yu, this fool, made her believe once again that there was such a devoted person in this world. Hearing Zheng Ro's words and looking at her expression, she didn't seem to be lying. Qin Shu's heart sank to the bottom. Qin Shu, don't think that you can rest easy just because you came out alive. You killed the 4 dream creators of the Doomsday Death God. The boss won't let you off. Chapter 45:31. The boss you're talking about is Chief Y, right? Qin Chu's casual words made Zheng Rou's expression change drastically. How did you know? The professor cracked the code on the dream creator and found some clues. I'm afraid he can't even protect himself now. Master Lord Su lost his grandson and is looking for someone to take revenge. Zheng Rou didn't expect them to find out so quickly. Zheng Rou had always known the boss's identity and had been in contact with him for a long time. However, she didn't dare to say it, not even if she was beaten to death. After all, she was afraid that she would implicate her family. You're so obedient to him because of your family scandal, right? All these years, your Zheng family's officials haven't been very clean. There must be a lot of evidence in his hands. Qin Chu, you're really smart. You know everything. As the dream creator who lured us into the dream, you really deserve to die. But I won't kill you. I'll lock you up for the rest of your life. I'll let you experience the same pain as Su Yu. Qin Chu hated Zheng Rou to the core. He had never hated a woman so much. He should have shot her death, but he knew that killing her wouldn't save Su Yu. Qin Chu was actually testing Zheng Rou. He knew a thing or two from Lord Su, but he wasn't sure. Now that he had confirmed the culprit, he turned to leave. Suddenly, he heard a low moan. He turned around and saw Zheng Rou biting her tongue. Her mouth was full of blood. Qin Chu didn't say anything. Perhaps he knew that Zheng Rou no longer had any desire to live and that the situation was hopeless. Even the boss behind this had been found out by them. What was a lackey like Zheng Rou? After Qin Chu left, he ordered someone to burn down the villa in the suburbs. Zheng Rou mysteriously disappeared. That night, Qin Chu received insider information. Secretary Zheng was investigated by the Anti-Corruption Bureau for corruption, and the Zheng family was arrested one after another. Another even more secret was that night, the former chief of a certain military region, Y, died of an illness at home. The next morning, Lord Su announced that he would retire early and return to Sea City. All of this happened very suddenly. Of course, ordinary people couldn't see any clues, but Qin Chu knew that there was something fishy going on. On the way to the hospital, Qin Chu received a call from the professor. Dad, Qin Chu said affectionately. Chu, I've received news that Y is dead. Was it done by the old man from the Su family? Yes. After his death, Doomsday Reaper God officially disintegrated. Little Yan's people killed all the remaining members of Doomsday Reaper God. Where's Qiao Fei? Have you found him? Not yet. Xiao Yan is still sending people to look for him, said the professor. I'm in Iceland now. I'm here to visit ya. Dr. Linya, is she all right? Actually, the Linya he saw back then was a dream creator. At that time, the professor had already entered the dream. Therefore, when he went to the cave in Iceland in his dream, he didn't see Linya's body and thought that she had run away. Now that he had returned to the real world and gone to Iceland, Linya's body was still there, but she was still the same. Her brain was dead and she was frozen. However, for the professor and Huomin, this was the best outcome. After all, Linya hadn't turned bad. She was still the best wife, the best mother, and the beauty who had been sleeping in the ice cave. He is fine, don't worry. By the way, is there any movement in Mion's stomach? When is the baby coming out? Not yet. She's currently hospitalized at Southside, waiting to give birth. Is she okay? The professor was worried that something would happen to Su Yu, which would greatly affect his daughter. Chapter 45:32. Upon hearing this, Qin Chu fell slightly silent. She's in a good mood. Stay with her. She's already weak when she's about to give birth, and she needs comfort and companionship the most at this time. I believe this will pass slowly. She's a rational child and will pull herself together. Okay, Dad. I'll take good care of her. Don't worry. After my grandson comes out, I'll go with Yan. Okay, call me in advance. I'll pick you up. Then, he hurriedly hung up the phone with the professor. When Qin Chu was about to arrive at the hospital, he received a call from Qin Ning. Brother, where are you? Come quickly. Qin Ning's tone was very urgent. Qin Shu's heart tightened slightly. I'm on my way. I'll be at the hospital soon. What's wrong? My sister-in-law's water broke. She's about to give birth. I'll be right there. After hanging up the phone, Qin Shu stepped on the gas pedal and sped all the way to the hospital. He changed in his sterile clothes and followed the gynecologist into the operating room. At this time, Huamin had already taken the anesthetic prepare before the cesarean section and was a little dizzy. Honey, I'm here. Don't be afraid. Qin Shu held Huamin's hand tightly. His palms were sweaty. It was obvious that he was even more nervous than Huamin. He had been in the operating room countless times. When he was in the United States, he often performed surgeries with a professor. After returning to China, he often went to the hospital. Even if it was a matter of life and death, Qin Shu had never been so nervous. It seemed that the saying was true. Even if he was a godly doctor, when it came to his own family, he would still be nervous and tremble. 4 years ago, when the twins were born, he was set up by Hua Xiqian in the United States. Not being able to accompany Huamin had always been his biggest regret. Therefore, after having a second child, he made up his mind that this time, no matter what, he had to be by Huamin's side. He had to be with her to give birth to the babies. Fortunately, everything happened in time. Honey, if anything happens to me, shut up. Don't talk nonsense. It's just a minor surgery. Relax. Hearing Huamin say such ominous words, Qin Shu was also angry. He rarely scolded Huamin so seriously because he couldn't bear to do it. However, the situation now was different. He was really afraid that something unexpected would happen. Okay, I won't say anything. Then you have to stay with me. I won't leave. I'll stay here. Don't worry. If you're tired, you could take a nap. All right. Huamin smiled. Qin Shu kissed her tired forehead gently. Then, Huamian fell asleep in a daze. The surgery went smoothly. After all, as a doctor, Huamin paid a lot of attention to her diet and nutrition after she became pregnant. However, Qin Shu was still on tenterhooks. Even when Huamin's blood pressure rose a little and her heart rate increased a little, he wanted to do it himself. This was probably the largest cesarean section in the history of Southside. The 2 directors of the obstetrics and gynecology department, 4 doctors, and 9 nurses were all present. Even 2 anesthesiologists were present. They were the best in the hospital. Actually, it was just giving birth. However, Huamin usually took care of everyone. Therefore, they were very popular. Everyone volunteered to perform the surgery for Director Hua. There was even a group of people cheering at the door. Other than the people from the hospital, Jixin, Bella, Yang Meiyerong, Lady Su, the twins, Qin Shu's parents, Tang Chuan, Qi Ning, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, Jiang Xiaowei, and Wei Liao were all present. Other than Cici, who was about to give birth, who was forced to rest in the ward, and Rick, who was still on the plane back to China, everyone was present. In the operating room, the moment the baby was carried out, he cried. Qin Shu felt that at that moment, his heart was about to melt. Chapter 45-33. President Qin, congratulations. It's a young master. He weighs 6 pounds and 8 ounces. The chief surgeon carefully placed the baby in Qin Shu's arms. He gently took it and looked at the baby who looked like him. He was so touched that he actually cried. Director, your son is so good-looking. His eyebrows are so thick and his eyes are big. A few chief surgeons whispered into Hua Min's ear. She was still conscious. She wanted to say something, but she was a little tired. She only smiled. Honey, you've worked hard. I'm going to stitch you up now. Hang in there. If you're tired, sleep a little longer. Qin Shu carried the child and whispered into Hua Min's ear. Hua Min nodded slightly and fell asleep again. Then, she saw a patch of grass in front of her. There were white poplars on both sides, like a university campus. The students walked in 2s and 3s, and from time to time, she would hear laughter. Little Sister Mian. Suddenly, an extremely familiar voice sounded in her ear. She turned around and was slightly surprised to see the boy in a light pink short-sleeved shirt. Hua Xiqian. Little Sister Mian, do you have class in the afternoon? I'll take you to a seafood feast. Aren't you? Huamin was surprised to see Hua Xiqian again because in Huamin's mind, he was already dead. He died for her. Otherwise, Huamin would have died in the explosion. What? Are you afraid that Ning Ziyuan will be jealous? That coward. I don't know what you see in him. I heard that he went to look for prostitutes with the boys in his dorm when he was a freshman. What kind of taste do you have? Did he give up on himself after breaking up with Qin Shu? Huamin didn't say anything. Not because she was angry. It was because this scene was very familiar. When she was in university, Hua Xiqian was already the general manager of the whole corporation. He was rich and powerful, and he was trusted by Hua Zhenghai. Therefore, he would go to her school to pick up girls from time to time. Every time he saw her, he would flirt with her. At that time, she thought that Hua Xiqian was just teasing her and embarrassing her. Now that she thought about it, this man might have had other thoughts about her at that time. Seeing that Huamin was silent, Hua Xiqian walked over and approached her. She was wearing Hua Xiqian's cologne, which was indeed Hua Xiqian's style. Wow, my little sister Mian is so gentle today. Where did your sharp tongue go? As Hua Xiqian approached, Huamin felt that he was so real. Don't mess around. Huamin lowered his head, not daring to look into his eyes. She was afraid that she would cry. It's true. Ning Ziyuan is no good. Don't date him anymore. He has no money and no character. If you marry him, your life will be ruined. I know I won't marry him. Then marry me. You're Dad's daughter, and I'm Dad's son. When the time comes, the family assets will be ours. Don't let the goodies flow into other people's fields. Ha! Before Huamin could say anything, Hua Xiqian laughed heartily. Young Master Hua. Not far away, the school bell's tall and slender figure swayed her slender waist as she walked over. Then, she held on to Hua Xiqian's arm. Young Master Hua, you're so naughty. You're teasing the student again. Let's go. Let's go, little sister Mian. Ha. Call me if you need money. Kiss me, and I'll give you 1,000,000 yuan. Before leaving, Hua Xiqian didn't forget to tease Huamin. If it was before, Huamin would have cursed out loud. But now, seeing Hua Xiqian in such a way, she was actually a little touched. Hua Xiqian, Huamin suddenly shouted at the back of the figure. She suddenly wanted to say something to him. Hua Xiqian turned around and smiled wickedly. Chapter 45-34. Huamin raised his hand, placed it by his mouth, and shouted at Hua Xiqian, or perhaps in front of the entire school. Hua Xiqian, you look really good in pink. Perhaps he was used to being scolded by Huamin, but he didn't expect Huamin to do something like this. Therefore, at that moment, Hua Xiqian's eyes were filled with shock, surprise, and ecstasy. His smile became even brighter. Then, he turned around and hugged the girl with the hot figure. He even playfully turned his back to Huamin and made a V sign. It was great to see Hua Xiqian again in this way. It was great to be able to exchange a few words with him. Then, the scene changed again. It became winter. It was the season of snowflakes. When Huamin opened his eyes, he realized that he was on a snow-covered street. As for himself, he was wearing a short red down jacket. He was chubby and looked like a koala bear. In the north, girls especially liked to wear fur in winter. Firstly, it looked good. Secondly, it kept them warm. Huamin was the type of person who rejected fur. Therefore, all these years, he had the habit of wearing down jackets. Because of this, Suyu even laughed at him for looking like a silly roe deer. While he was in a daze, Suyu jumped down the wall. Little girl, I patted Huamin's shoulder. Where's my birthday present? When Huamin saw Suyu, he was ecstatic. Before Suyu could say anything, he grabbed Suyu's hand. This was the first time that Suyu saw Huamin being so proactive. He was also dumbfounded. He looked at his hand, then at Huamin. What's going on? Suyu, come with me. Come back with me. Go back where? Suyu was confused again. Come back to the real world with me. Silly girl, did you have a fever? Don't play dumb with me. Hurry up and take it out. Where's my birthday present? Huamin was confused. Birthday present? Yeah, today's my birthday. I asked you for a red packet on WeChat this morning, but you ignored me. But I still believe that you didn't come empty-handed. Hurry up and take it out. So you urged her for a birthday present. Huamin looked around. They were outside the walls of Su Yu's private mansion. She suddenly remembered what happened a few years ago on Su's birthday. He remembered that Zhao Qingya's younger sister, Zhao Xia, committed suicide by jumping off a building in her private mansion to frame Su Yu. Because of this, Su Yu was sued and almost charged with murder. Huamin didn't care about her image and proved that Su Yu wasn't there. However, it made Qin Chu jealous. How long had it been? Huamin never expected this. Are you stupid? Su Yu lowered her head and leaned close to Huamin's face. Her white Versace long sleeve was clearly visible. Su Yu, happy birthday. Huamin closed her eyes and kissed Su Yu on the left side of her forehead at lightning speed. Su Yu was instantly petrified. Huamin knew that Su Yu had always known how he felt about her. However, she was helpless. Because she had someone she loved, she couldn't give Su Yu a single cent. However, Su Yu didn't give up just because she didn't respond. Instead, he stayed by her side to protect her. All these years, the only person Huamin owed was Su Yu. Therefore, today, she didn't know if it was a dream or something, but she actually saw Su Yu again. Thus, she made a bold move. Su Yu was really dumbfounded. Did Huamin just kiss him? He was stunned. Then, he reached out and touched his face. You? Su Yu wanted to say something, but he realized that he was so excited that he couldn't speak. Do you like this gift? Huamin asked him. Chapter 45-35. Mian. Su Yu, I just gave birth to a baby. Chingu baby. Su Yu was dumbfounded again. Yes, this is my third child after Pudding and Little Bean. Master Lord, Su, named him Qin Yuyao. Mian, what are you talking about? You're not even pregnant. How can you have a child? Su Yu looked at her in amusement. Huamin didn't explain. They're having a party inside. Tang Chuan and the others are all there. Do you want to go in and have a drink? Su Yu smiled. I'm not going. Don't drink too much. It's not good for your health. When did you start caring about me? Aren't you afraid that Qin Chu will be jealous? Huamin put his hands into the pockets of his down jacket. Su Yu, Qin Chu and I miss you very much. We all miss you very much. You're talking nonsense again. Dr. Hua, I wonder if you're possessed by a ghost today. I should put a talisman on your forehead. Heavenly spirits, earthly spirits. Haha. Su Yu was naughty again. Huamin was already crying. Oh, why are you crying? I'm just teasing you. You're not possessed by a ghost. Don't be afraid. Su Yu panicked when he saw her crying. Su Yu, I really miss you. Su Yu's body trembled. He opened his mouth and was about to speak. His figure became more and more blurry. Su Yu, Su. Huamin called Su Yu's name and woke up again. Then, she saw the familiar ceiling. This was the VIP ward of Southside Recuperation Center. Qin Chu hurried over and held her hand. Mian, I'm here. Honey, Huamin was just about to say that she dreamed of Su Yu, but when she saw Qin Chu's haggard appearance, she couldn't bear to say it. Hence, she changed it to, Hubby, where's the child? The kids want to take a shower. I'll bring them back later. Why don't you go with them? You might get carried away. Qin Chu smiled faintly. No, Mom and Dad went with them. How are you? Are you tired? Does your wound hurt? Huamin shook his head. Hubby, is he cute? Yes, he looks like me. He's very handsome. Huamin smiled. Shameless. But I think his personality is very similar to yours. You can tell at such a young age. Don't lie to me. Huamin obviously didn't believe her. It's true. He doesn't like to cry. He only cried a few times when he first came out. After that, he's been very obedient. His eyes are very calm. I think his personality will be more like yours in the future. Where's my mom and Jixin? They went to the swimming pool to accompany the baby. Okay, I'm a forgotten existence. Huamin was full of jealousy. Don't talk nonsense. You still have Hubby. Hubby, where are Pudding and Little Bean? They're with Buyuan and Yinchu. Xiaowei and Lingling took them out to eat. Everyone has been waiting for you. They didn't eat much. It's okay for the adults, but the kids are exhausted. Okay, Auntie Sue just came and brought this for the kids. Qin Chu picked up a small box and placed it beside Huamin's hand. Inside was a longevity lock. It was obviously handmade. It wasn't exquisite, but looked heartwarming. I heard that Auntie Sue knitted it herself. Thank you for your hard work, Auntie, Huamin said. Chinshu hesitated for a moment and continued. Just now, Imperial Star's lawyer came with Su Yu's gift for the kids. Hearing Su Yu's name, Huamin's heart sank again. Chapter 45-36. Huamin was extremely grateful that Su Yu had left hundreds of millions of yuan in trust funds for the three children. Although he knew that the Qin family was a top financial group and did not lack money, Su Yu still acted like an elder and thought of a way out for the children. Qin Shu handed over a black brocade box inlaid with rich gold. It was square, only a little bigger than the jewelry box that held the rings. Huamin held in her hand and hesitated. She did not dare to open anything related to Su Yu. She had just met him in her dream and even talked to him. Now that she had woken up from her dream, it felt like a lifetime had passed. Huamin felt like she had met Su Yu in her previous life, or a long time ago. You just gave birth and your body is still weak. Why don't you wait a few days? Qin Shu saw that Huamin was hesitating and did not dare to open the box. He seemed to have guessed what was on her mind, so he persuaded her in a low voice. It's okay. I want to see what Tycoon Su gave my son. Huamin forced a smile and slowly opened the brocade box. Then, tears welled up in her eyes again. There was no gold, silver, or jewelry inside, nor were there any diamonds or jade, nor were there any land deeds or shares. It was not something valuable, or rather, something that could not be measured by money. It was just an ordinary bullet shell. However, it was plated with a layer of black gold by Su Yu, which made it even more mysterious. Giving a bullet shell to a boy obviously meant that he hoped that he would grow up to be a tough guy. Originally, this was nothing. It was just Su Yu's hope and good wishes for the child. However, Huamin knew what Su Yu meant. A long time ago, Su Yu had also given her a bullet shell like this. Although the color was different, it had a deep meaning. Su Yu had said that she could take it and look for him anytime. He would do his best to fulfill one of her wishes. At that time, Huamin had even teased him, asking if he was Aladdin's magic lamp. After Huamin became pregnant with her second child, she had the following conversation with Su Yu. Mian, if the baby is a boy, I'll give him a bullet shell. What? Huamin looked at Su Yu. Tell him that as a man, he needs to be upright and dignified. Don't be a sissy. But that's not the main point. The main point is that with this bullet shell, no matter when he finds me, I can fulfill one of his wishes. Here we go again. Are you a bullet shell expert? Why are you giving bullet casings to everyone? Mian laughed. Su Yu, on the other hand, had a serious expression on his face. I'm only this generous to you and your son. Then, Huamin stopped smiling and fell silent. Yes, she knew in her heart that Su Yu was only good to her and her child. Now that she held the bullet shell in her hand, Huamin felt that it was heavy. Even if the child grew up and held the bullet shell, he would never be able to find Su Yu again. Right now, Su Yu could no longer fulfill this kid's wishes because he was already asleep. Mian, you can't cry during your confinement. It's bad for your eyes. Qin Shu quickly stood up and wiped away Huamin's tears. Honey, I just saw Su Yu in my dream. Huamin smiled with tears in her eyes. Is he doing well? There was no jealousy on Qin Shu's face, nor did he feel awkward. Instead, he asked very naturally. MHM, he's doing very well. He's still the same. MHM, that's good. I believe that Su Yu's character and kindness over the years will definitely be rewarded. What we need to do now is quietly wait for him to come back, okay? Qin Shu coaxed Huamin like he was coaxing a child. Chapter 45-37. Will he come back? Huamin asked Qin Shu with uncertainty. I think so. I believe in Su Yu's character. Qin Shu wasn't a Buddhist, but he believed in karma. If one did too many bad things, they would be punished. If one did too many good things, they would also be rewarded. Although Su Yu was a spoiled brat who could do whatever he wanted, he had never done anything outrageous. Especially after meeting Huamin, he became extremely kind. Qin Shu felt that God wouldn't treat a kind person harshly, of course. This was just his personal opinion. After chatting with Qin Shu for a while, two nurses came in with dinner, giggling. "Director, it's time for dinner." "Mr. Director, you look great today." Many people look haggard at night after surgery. As soon as the two nurses entered, the ward became much livelier. Humin smiled slightly. "It's not my first child. I'm not that delicate." "Director, this is dinner specially prepared by the chef in the cafeteria. There's blackfish tofu soup for nourishing the body, 2 pieces of tax refund cake, red date millet porridge, stir-fried vegetables, and a dessert, blueberry cheesecake. No need for special treatment. Thank you for your hard work." "It's not hard at all. Director, it's a joyous occasion to have a baby." "Ha! Speaking of which, the young master is so handsome. When he was swimming, many people were watching." "Honey, help me up. The incision isn't good. Lie down and don't move. I'll raise the bed for you and feed you." Seeing that the couple was about to show off their love again, the nurse left. Qin Shu carefully raised the bed, put the pillow behind her, and fed her. Halfway through the meal, everyone returned in a grandiose manner. Hugging her newborn son, "Mian, how do you feel? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Mama Qin asked. "Mom, I'm fine." "Mian, does it hurt?" Yang Meirong walked up and held her daughter's hand. "Mom, it doesn't hurt anymore. The anesthetic might still be in effect. Anyway, I'm fine. Don't worry." "Sister-in-law, look at your son. He's so young, but he already knows how to flirt with girls. He just went for a swim and kept giggling at the pretty nurse." After speaking, Qin Ning carried the child and handed it over. Qin Shu took the baby and showed it to Huamin. When he was born, Huamin was still dizzy, so he didn't take a good look at the little guy. Now, he could finally take a good look. Sure enough, his eyebrows were exactly the same as Qin Shu's. He couldn't help but sigh at the strength of genes. "Mian, look, this kid looks like Chu, doesn't she?" Mr. Qin was obviously very happy. Although he had always felt that having a granddaughter was already very good and perfect. But now that she had given birth to a second child, the Qin family was still in a state of jubilation. Even Qin Ning's father was so happy that he booked a plane ticket to fly back from America to see his grandson. Everyone stayed for a while. Seeing that Huamin was a little tired, they left one after another. Pudding and Little Bean were brought back to South Hill Manor by their grandparents. The newborn and Huamin stayed at the hospital. At around 7 p.m., Lady Sue arrived alone. She only brought a bodyguard with her and was very low-key. She wore a coffee-colored wool coat and a classic Hepburn hat, looking very ladylike. In her hand was a medium-sized thermos flask. Qin Shu quickly stood up. "Mrs. Sue." Chapter 45-38. "I'm here to see Mian." "Auntie." Huamin was about to get up. However, Lady Sue stopped him. "Silly boy, lie down. Don't move around. Don't hurt yourself." Huamin smiled and leaned against the headboard quietly. "I made some tonics for you at home. Mr. Sue and Lord Sue are going to come, but they heard that you're still in confinement. It's not good for men to come. Mr. Sue is very superstitious, so he said he'd leave for a while and come see you when you're discharged. They're all elders. Don't treat me like this. While I'm out of confinement, I'll take the child to see them." Huamin was a bit flattered. It seemed like she would never be able to repay the Sue family's kindness in this lifetime. "What are you talking about? We're family. Here, eat the bird's nest while it's hot." Lady Sue took out the tonics and watched Huamin eat while chatting with her calmly. The two of them never talked about Suyu. Suyu seemed to have become a taboo in the Sue family. Once it was mentioned, everyone in the Sue family would be heartbroken. After Lady Sue left, Qin Shu went downstairs to see her off. Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling came in to see Huamin. "Director Hua, you've worked hard today." Zhu Lingling touched Huamin's head and joked with her. "You two have to hurry up. I'm having my second child. You two have to give birth too. We'll never be able to catch up to you in this lifetime. Our genes are too good." Jiang Xiaowei laughed. "Have you given the child a nickname?" "I heard it's called Qin Guoguo." Zhu Lingling laughed. Huamin was speechless. Ms. Zhu Lingling, who told you that? Your daughter is my daughter-in-law, Zhu Lingling said matter-of-factly. So my little bean has become a professional hater, Huamin said helplessly. Qingguohua is a good name. It's easy to raise. Zhu Lingling continued to tease. Then why don't you call Gao Buiyu an ergo or Taidan? That would make him easier to raise. Huamin rolled his eyes. Jiang Shaowei laughed out loud as she watched the two women fight. All right, I won't joke around with you all. I have a matter that I would like to ask your opinions on. After joking around, Huamin stopped smiling and put on a serious face. What's the matter? Why are you so serious? Jiang Shaowei moved a small stool and sat beside Huamin's bed. Zhu Lingling put her arms around Jiang Shaowei's neck and leaned on her shoulder. The three women were indeed best friends and could talk about anything. Huamin dared to talk to them about things that he didn't want to talk to Qinchu about. I want to give my son to the Su family for adoption. Huamin's words were like a sudden clap of thunder. Zhu Lingling and Jiang Shaowei were both shocked. Mian, are you crazy? You carried him for 10 months and gave birth to him. He's not a surrogate. You want to give your child to someone else? Zhu Lingling was agitated. Qinchu won't agree, right? Jiang Shaowei also thought it was inappropriate. I'll persuade him. My husband listens to me. Huamin lowered her head and said in a low voice, Woman, you're too impulsive. I know you feel guilty about the Su family, but you can't joke about this, Zhu Lingling asked her. I'm not joking. I've been thinking about this for days. No, I don't agree. It's not easy for you to give birth to this child. You're 30 years old and don't even have a son. Now that you finally have one, you have to give it away. No. Zhu Lingling waved her hand, feeling sorry for Huamin. Jiang Shaowei glanced at Huamin and tried to persuade her. I think Lord Su won't agree to this either. Mrs. Su suggested that Su Yu have a child with Han Yueyao, but he refused. What will the Su family think if you give the child to him? They're not the type to take advantage of others. Chapter 45-39. Upon hearing Jiang Shaowei's words, Huamin fell silent. Mian, I think, after coming back from the dream, you become a bit impulsive. You don't care about the consequences of your actions. Right. Dr. Zhang's comments are right. Zhu Lingling joined Jiang Shaowei in criticizing Huamin. Since they were best friends, they didn't hide anything from each other. That's because I lost Su Yu forever. Huamin bit his lip and said with a trembling voice, We're all sad about what happened to Su Yu. Mian, you have to know that you're not the only one who's sad. Wei Liao grew up with Lord Su. After he came back, he looked fine on the surface and even took over many of Imperial Star's affairs. But he hasn't been able to eat for days. He's only been drinking coffee every day and lost more than 10 pounds in a week. He's a man, so he won't cry out loud like us. Jiang Shaowei said emotionally. Huamin didn't say anything, but he heard everything. And Tang Chuan, you probably don't know, but after he came back, he's been drinking himself into a stupor every day. He doesn't even listen to Qin Ning. That day, he got into a fight with someone at a nightclub and was almost stabbed. Everyone knows about it now, and it was even photographed by tabloids and published on the entertainment section. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin and said word by word, Gao Ren doesn't have a deep relationship with Lord Su, but he knows that Lord Su saved everyone's lives this time. So, the atmosphere in our house is very tense. Zhu Lingling explained. Jiang Shaowei reached out and tucked Huamin in. And Pudding and Little Bean, they cried and threw tantrums. On the surface, it's all over, but Yinshu said that Pudding hasn't gone to bed until 2 a.m. these days. She said she can't sleep because she misses handsome Su. Upon hearing this, Huamin burst into tears again. Mian, you have to know that no one has forgotten about Su Yu. Everyone is as sad as you are, but we can't give up on ourselves. Su Yu sacrificed himself for the stable life we have now, so we have to cherish it even more. I believe that he wants everyone to be happy and not be sad every day. I know you're a Disney fan, so you must have seen the popular animation, Dream Quest. There's a line in it that I remember very well, and I'll give it to you now. The true death is when no one in the world remembers you. Before the memory of love disappears, please let us always remember Suyu. Death is not the end of life. Forgetting is. We won't forget him, right? Huomin nodded with tears in his eyes. I'll never forget him for the rest of my life. Never. Huomin was already crying. Zhu Lingling was also touched by Jiang Shaowei's words. However, Qin Chu soon returned, and the two of them didn't continue talking. Before she left, Jiang Shaowei reminded Huomin, think about what happened just now. I hope that before you make a decision, you'll think about Qin Chu, your in-laws, and Pudding and Little Bean. Thank you, Shaowei. Huomin was smart, so how could he not know what Jiang Shaowei meant? Huomian's decision to give the child to the Su family was indeed impulsive. He thought that after Jiang Shaowei left, Huomin would finally have some peace. However, he didn't expect that the last visitor would come. Sister Mian, I'm late. I hope I didn't disturb you. Han Yueyao stood at the door with a bouquet of lilies in her hands. Chapter 45-40. No, Yao Yao, come in. Huomin waved his hand and called Han Yueyao in. After talking with Jiang Shaowei and the others, he was indeed tired. But seeing Han Yueyao, Huomin thought of many things. In fact, many things between Su Yu and Han Yueyao happened in the dream and didn't happen in the real world. But whether it was in the dream or in reality, Han Yueyao liked Su Yu. This was something everyone knew. Maybe only Su Yu didn't know. Or maybe Su Yu knew but never mentioned it. Sister Mian, congratulations on giving birth to a cute baby. I don't know what you need, so I bought 2 sets of new clothes when I passed by maternity and baby store. Please don't mind. Han Yueyao handed him 2 newborn gift boxes. Huomin didn't refuse and let Qin Chu take them. Then he thanked her. Thank you, Yao Yao. Sister Mian, take good care of yourself. Don't think too much. I heard from Annie, Su, that you're not in a good mental state recently, but you have to think about your health. A healthy body is the foundation of a revolution. I heard you're going back to work after your confinement? Yes, I'm going back to Southside to resume my old job. Huomin smiled slightly. I believe it's a benefit for many patients. After all, you're a genius doctor with medical ethics, Han Yueyao praised. But no matter how good I am and how many people I can save, I can't save Su Yu. After Huomin said that, Han Yueyao's eyes became sad. Yao Yao, do you hate me? Why do you ask, Sister Mian? All the women who like Su Yu hate me. Jian Tong, Zhao Qingya, and Zheng Ro. In short, they think Su Yu is blind to like me. After all, Su Yu has been so good to me, but I've never reciprocated. Do you want me to tell you the truth? Sister Mian, Han Yueyao looked at Huomin and enunciated each word. Okay, tell me. At this point, I won't blame you for anything you say, Huomin said calmly. Han Yueyao shook her head. The truth is, I don't hate you at all. In fact, I like you very much. Huomian was slightly surprised, but she didn't see any hypocrisy in Han Yueyao's eyes. She was afraid that Han Yueyao meant what she said. Before Huomin could speak, Han Yueyao said, When I heard about Su Yu, I thought you must be an unparalleled beauty. Then I found that Su Yu didn't like your looks. He liked your personality, your inner qualities, and your character. The more time I spend with you, the more I understand your rare and precious qualities. So, I think Su Yu isn't blind. He and President Qin both have the best taste in you in the world. I think it's his greatest pride to fall in love with someone as outstanding as you. Yao Yao. Huomin was surprised by Han Yueyao's words. Sister Mian, the truth is I really want to give birth to a child for Su Yu. I want to leave an heir for him. It's not that I'm noble. I'm selfish. I want to maintain a complicated relationship with Su Yu. But Master Lord Su's words reminded me. Even if I give birth to 10 children for Su Yu, so what if we're inextricably linked? He'll never fall in love with me, whether it's in a dream or in the real world, whether he's asleep or awake. Huomin suddenly found Han Yueyao was very wise, emotional, and even magnanimous. Sister Mian, I've made up my mind. I'll stay at Imperial Star and continue to be a star. I'll wait and see when Su will come back. Let me grow old while waiting. Okay? Yao Yao. You. Huamin wanted to say something, but stopped on second thought. Han Yueyao suddenly changed the topic. Sister Mian, I heard President Qin still owes you a grand wedding. Now that you've given birth to the baby and your figure has recovered, when are you getting married? Huamin was surprised by Han Yueyao's question and didn't know how to answer. She glanced at Qin Chu, who wasn't far away. Chapter 45-41. Qin Chu answered for Huamin. Our wedding is canceled. Huh? Canceled? Han Yueyao was surprised. Yeah, we've been together since we were young. After all these years, we've relied on each other and experienced so much together. We've become an inseparable part of each other's lives. So, it doesn't matter to us whether we have a wedding or not. Mr. Qin cleverly avoided the topic of the wedding. Qin Chu knew it wasn't the best time to have a wedding. Huamin was still grieving over Su Yu's coma. What would the Su family think if they had a big wedding at this time? What would their friends think? Sure enough, Huamin was satisfied with Qin Chu's answer. She glanced at Qin Chu gratefully and didn't speak. President Qin is right. I really envy childhood sweethearts like you. Okay, Sister Mian, rest early. I'll come to see you another day. Han Yueyao sat for a while and then stood up to leave. After Han Yueyao left, Qin Chu returned to the ward and sat down on the bed. Are you hungry? Do you want me to cook something for you? Qin Chu looked at Huamin tenderly. Huamin didn't speak. She reached out her hands and hugged Qin Chu's neck tightly. Honey, thank you. Silly girl, you don't have to thank me. You're fine. That's more important than anything else. Qin Chu knew Huamin was thanking him for what he did. He gently patted her back to comfort her. 1 month later, Huamin's confinement was also Qin Yuyao's 1-month-old birthday. Southall Manor hadn't been so lively in a long time. With lanterns and streamers everywhere, it was even livelier than during the New Year. Everyone came to congratulate them, including the Su family. Lord Su was in a good mood and wouldn't let go of the baby. Mr. Su drank a few more glasses of wine and even sang a Peking opera for everyone. Rick hugged his and Cece's daughter and turned into a daughter slave. Huamin's figure recovered rapidly after a month. She had already slimmed down from 128 pounds to 96 pounds. She wore an elegant yellow dress and a striped jacket, looking calm and elegant. Rick, her name is Little Ajin, right? Huamin looked at the baby in Rick's arms. Yes, just like in a dream. She took Cece's surname, and her full name is Nyejin. Rick said, Do you want to be in-laws with us? Huamin laughed. Qin Chu mentioned it to me before, but I rejected him. Rick replied proudly. Huamin chuckled. Why did you reject us? Little Jean is only a few days away from our Yu Yao, and they're of the same social status. I think my daughter's eyes are bigger than your son's. Rick refused. All right, you win. Huamin laughed until tears rolled down his cheeks. Time could heal all wounds. On such a joyous day, no one mentioned Su Yu again. And in Master Wu were also afraid of spoiling the fun, so they didn't attend the 1-month-old banquet. In the afternoon, while everyone was having afternoon tea in the room, Huamin held a champagne glass and walked to the balcony on the top floor, looking at the scenery in the distance. Mommy, you're thinking about him, aren't you? Huamin turned around when she heard the voice and saw Pudding dressed up. Why aren't you taking a nap? Huamin didn't answer her daughter's question. Instead, she looked at her gently. I can't sleep. Mommy, I miss him a lot. What about you? Me too. Huamian squeezed out a smile, but there was a hint of bitterness in her smile. Then, Pudding continued in her childish voice. Dream Chaser said that death isn't scary, forgetting is. So we'll always remember him, right? Yes, Huamin said and downed the champagne in her hand. Mommy, I want to ask you a question on his behalf. Upon hearing this, Huamian tilted her head and looked at her daughter in surprise. Then, she heard Pudding ask in a serious tone, all these years, have you ever loved him? Even a little? In the end, Pudding saw that her mother didn't say anything, but the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Chapter 45-42. At the Su family's old residence. After the mysterious death of a certain military chief, Old Master Su retired early to recuperate. Although the higher-ups had invited him many times, the Old Master refused. After losing his beloved grandson, he seemed to have aged a lot overnight. No matter how majestic he used to be, he only wanted to live in seclusion. "Dad, Master Wu is here." Lady Su knocked on the door and said softly, "Let him in." Master Lord Su put down the teacup in his hand. Master Wu was wearing a green sweatshirt and an expensive bracelet from Suyu. Overall, Master Wu was much cleaner and tidier than before. Perhaps it was a habit he had developed after coming to Sea City. After Master Wu entered, he nodded slightly at the Old Master. "Sit." Lady Su knew that the Old Master must have something important to say to Master Wu, so she left. In the study of the Su family's old residence. At first, the Old Master was just chatting with Master Wu, but then the two of them almost finished a pot of Longjing tea. Finally, Master Lord Su said, "Little Wu, I know you're quite capable. Otherwise, my arrogant grandson wouldn't be willing to kowtow and acknowledge you as his master. No, just think of me as a swindler." Master Wu smiled mischievously. "To be honest, you should know why I called you here today." "I know. It's about Suyu." Master Wu knew very well. Suyu's matter had become a thorn in the Su family's heart. Suyu's coma had become everyone's injury. Seeing that he had made it so clear, Lord Su nodded. "That's right, it's about you. Old Master, with all due respect, I really can't save Suyu. Maybe there's such an expert in this world, but my ability is limited. Even if you exhaust me to death, I can't find an exit to get Suyu out. I'm really sorry." Before the Old Master could speak, Master Wu explained everything. Suyu had been in a coma for more than a year. Huomin's second child could already walk. For more than a year, everyone went to see Suyu almost every week, as if he was really asleep. Huomin insisted on going every week. He would talk to Suyu alone for a while. Sometimes she would bring the twins, and sometimes she would carry her second child. And then Master Wu had been living in Suyu's private villa and couldn't bear to leave, even though they knew that Suyu wouldn't wake up. In the past year or so, almost everyone had asked Master Wu this question. This included Huomin. She had even said that she wanted to accompany Suyu in his dreams. But Master Wu was really helpless. When Suyu entered the dream for the second time, Master Wu had already warned him seriously and told him all the consequences. However, Suyu still did it without any regrets. He knew what the consequences would be, but he still did it. This was his own choice. It was understandable that everyone wanted to save him. However, Master Wu really couldn't do it, so he felt that it was better to talk things out when the Old Master wanted to see him alone. "Don't give everyone hope, Wu. You might have misunderstood. I didn't ask you to come here today to save you. I know you don't have the ability, so I won't make things difficult for you." "Old Master, then you are..." Master Wu was a little surprised as he looked at the white-haired old man. "I actually want to ask you a question. Go ahead. If you dies in the real world, then will his soul leave the dream?" Master Lord Su asked word by word with a heavy expression. Master Wu was shocked when he heard this. "Old Master, what do you mean?" Chapter 45-43. Master Lord Su glanced at Master Wu. "Answer my question first." "Old Master, to be honest, I don't know if it will happen. But the situation is like this. Suyu isn't dead yet, he's just unconscious. You can think of it as his body is still there, but his soul is imprisoned in the nightmare world. That place is extremely desolate, and Suyu is alone there. He won't age or die there. He can't leave, and if Suyu's body is gone, or if he's dead, then he will be completely dead in the dream. As for the person who died in the nightmare, I don't know where his soul went. Of course, one thing is for sure. After he dies, his soul shouldn't belong to the dream world anymore. So what you're saying is, if we don't do anything and let you stay unconscious like this, he might be trapped forever. We're guarding a soulless body, and we might never see hope. But if he dies, there might be a different ending. Old Master, you have to think twice. I know what you want to do, But the problem now is Suyu isn't dead, and his body is still there. Maybe when the time comes, or if he meets an expert, he might be able to be saved, but he might never wake up and be in a vegetative state forever, the old man interrupted. Master Wu said hurriedly, but if he really dies, then he'll disappear forever. His body won't be there, and his soul won't be there either. You and Suyu will have nothing to do with each other anymore, whether he reincarnates or transmigrates to his previous life. In short, Suyu will completely disappear from this world. I know, the old man lowered his head and said solemnly. Old master, you're not thinking of. Master Wu seemed to have guessed what the old man was thinking. That's what I think. I don't want to see you live like a piece of trash for the rest of his life. I'd rather start a new life for him, even if he has nothing to do with me from now on and is no longer a member of the Su family. I don't want him to be alone in that barren place for the rest of his life. Compared to death, endless loneliness is scarier, isn't it? The old man's words shocked Master Wu so much that he couldn't say a word. As expected of an elder, as expected of a great figure. He had led soldiers for a lifetime, and his bones were firm and unyielding. Master Wu understood that in this world, the person who doted on Suyu the most was probably the old master. He loved Suyu more than anyone else, but it was because of this love that he could not watch his grandson become a vegetable for the rest of his life. Therefore, he was willing to part with his treasures. Then, do Yu's parents agree? After a while, Master Wu asked this question. I will discuss this matter with them. I called you here today to ask about the final result. If you put it that way, it's true. Although the method is a little cruel, it's undeniable that this is a method that isn't really a method. Perhaps it's really better than him being in a vegetative state for the rest of his life. The night after Master Wu left, Master Lord Su called everyone over for a meeting. Everyone related to Suyu was present. Huamin, Qin Shu, Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, Wei Liao, Jiang Xiaowei, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling. Other than Cici and the children who were brought to the United States by Rick, everyone else was here. Master Lord Su, everyone is here. You can announce it now. Qin Shu knew that Lord Su had something important to announce. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gathered so many people. The old man looked around and sighed slightly. I plan to euthanize you. His words shocked the entire crowd. Chapter 45-44. Master Lord Su, why? Huamin was almost crying. Everyone was thinking about how to save Suyu, but Master Lord Su wanted to euthanize him. Was he still his biological grandfather? Huamin's question was indeed what everyone wanted to ask. Mian, don't be rash. Listen to Lord Su first. Qin Chu was the most rational. Although Lord Su was old, he wasn't muddle-headed at all. He had been high and mighty his entire life. What big decision had he not made? Why would he harm his grandson for no reason? Therefore, when everyone fell silent again, Lord Su repeated what he had said to Master Wu today. After hearing this, everyone fell silent again. Jiang Xiaowei calmed down first and asked, Master Lord Su, can you really be so heartless? Master Lord Su looked at everyone and said slowly, when I think about you being alone in that desolate place, I wish I was a heartless grandfather. So, today's decision wasn't rash. It's been a year. Everyone wants him to wake up, but we all know that he won't wake up. If this continues year after year, even if I die and you guys get old, you might not see the day you wakes up. When I think about him being alone in that place, my heart hurts. There's no grandfather in this world who doesn't love his grandson. I feel 100 times worse than you guys when I make this decision, but I have to make a prompt decision. After Lord Su finished speaking, no one said anything because they didn't know what to say. Huamin was already sobbing softly on Qin Chu's body. After giving birth to her second child, Huamin had been suffering from postpartum depression for a long time. Fortunately, Qin Chu accompanied her day and night. Only then did she slowly walk out of the shadows. However, she still didn't dare to mention Su Yu's name. This became her biggest weakness. Now that Lord Su wanted to euthanize Su Yu, it was equivalent to killing Su Yu. Although Su Yu hadn't woken up yet, his physical body was still there. At the very least, it gave everyone something to think about. However, if the patient was euthanized, the corpse would be cremated according to the rules of the family of a high-ranking official. Then he was buried in the cemetery in the northern suburbs at that time. So you would really not be able to come back. Or he would completely disappear from this world. Seeing that no one was speaking, he felt extremely sad. Mr. Su took off his glasses and wiped away his tears. As Yu's father, I have to say a few words. I understand that everyone is good to him and can't bear to part with him. Grandpa loves his grandson, and you all know that. Although my father's decision is cruel, logically speaking, it might be Yu's last chance. So, I hope that everyone can agree and give us some strength so that we can make this decision and give you his final release. After hearing this, Lady Su fainted on the ground from crying. Huomin quickly helped Lady Su up and sent her to her room to rest like the nanny. After returning from the Su family, Huomin's heart was extremely heavy. He didn't say a word along the way and just kept looking out of the car window. Mian, if you don't want to, I'll talk to Lord Su later. Qin Chu knew that Huomin didn't want Su Yu to be euthanized. Don't. Since Lord Su has already made his decision, we shouldn't interfere. After all, this is the best way for Su Yu. Huomin tried hard to hold back his tears, but his heart was already filled with devastation. Chapter 45-45. The day Su Yu was euthanized was the beginning of May. Spring was already blooming in Sea City in the north. Inside Su Yu's private mansion, everyone was wearing black formal attire to send him off for the last time. Looking at Su Yu, who was still unconscious on the bed, Huomin had mixed feelings. Why don't I do it? Seeing that Huomin's heart softened and she couldn't do it, Qin Chu wanted to snatch the needle from her hand. Unexpectedly, Huomin dodged. The twins were taken out by Qin Chu's parents to play and avoided this scene. Huomin held a syringe in her hand, her fingers trembling. Master Wu couldn't bear it and turned his head away, not daring to look. Mian, do it. Seeing that Huomin was unwilling to do anything, Lord Su shouted sternly. As expected of someone from the military, he was still bold. It was a military order. Huomin bit her lip. Then, she walked over and lifted Su Yu's arm. She slowly injected the life-or-death drug into Su Yu's blood vessels. Then, everyone saw that Huomin's face was covered in tears. Perhaps no one knew how she felt at this moment. She thought back to many years ago when she first met Su Yu. Su Yu had strained his ligaments in a car accident and was recuperating at Southside like a boss. At that time, so many young and beautiful nurses were giving Su Yu injections, but they were all chased out by Su Yu. There was even a nurse whose head was smashed by Su Yu with an ashtray. The situation was critical. As a nurse, Huomin had just gone to Southside. She was fearless and was used as a gun. She was sent directly to Su Yu's ward. With her courage and skills, she finally convinced Su Yu. As a result, Su Yu started to have feelings of ignorance towards her. Before meeting Huomin, Su Yu had many women. After meeting Huomin, Su Yu only liked Huomin. All of this originated from the injection he received in the hospital back then. Now, Huomin gave Su Yu the final injection, hoping to end his endless loneliness. Everyone hoped that this would allow Su Yu to escape from the nightmare. After the needle was inserted, she watched as Su Yu's lips gradually turned purple. Huomin felt his vision darken, then he lost consciousness. When Huomin woke up again, Su Yu's funeral had already ended. He was buried in the cemetery in the northern suburbs, a place with great scenery. For a long time, Huomin didn't dare to go. He didn't dare to face the fact that Su Yu was dead. It was about 18 months before Qin Guoguo could speak. When Qin Guoguo learned to speak, Huomin taught him to speak. Only then did she take the little guy to pay respect to Su Yu. Han Yueyao also went to Su Yu's funeral. She wore a long black dress. That day, she dressed up beautifully. She had a smile on her face the entire time. She didn't cry. She told herself not to cry. She said that Su Yu ended his loneliness and escaped from the dream that trapped him. His soul was freed. This was a good thing, an excellent thing. After Su Yu died, the Su family moved. Perhaps they didn't dare to stay, or perhaps they were afraid that everyone would be worried. The Su family all moved to a small town in the south and lived a true rural life. Huamin and Qin Shu brought the 3 children to visit them every year, and entered Imperial Star and became the bodyguard of Han Yueyao, who was extremely popular to ensure her safety. Master Wu went to travel the world, and no one knew his whereabouts anymore. In the dream worldlying in the desert, Su Yu didn't know how much time had passed. He even felt like these days were endless. Until one day, he suddenly felt his body become lighter. Then, he kept ascending and finally left this place. When he opened his eyes and woke up again, he saw the familiar ceiling. Chapter 45-46. Son, you're awake. You almost scared Mommy to death. The first thing Su Yu saw was that the woman leaning over his bed was actually Mom. Are you here? Su Yu had been used to being alone in the nightmare world for a long time. He thought that he would always be alone. He didn't expect to see his mother when he opened his eyes. What kind of ecstasy was this? Are you stupid? Of course, I heard that you were in a car accident, so I immediately rushed over. Fortunately, you're fine. It's just a ligament strain. Car accident? Ligament strain? Su Yu was obviously completely dumbfounded. What was going on? His mother kept chattering, but Su Yu didn't have the patience to listen. He just reached out and wrapped his arms tightly around his mother's neck. Mom, I love you so much. Faced with her son's sudden confession, Lady Su was slightly stunned. Then, she smiled with tears in her eyes and said with relief, You brat, you almost scare me to death. Now that you've died once, you know how precious life is. Let's see if you can still do it in the future. Do you want to play some Wang Ming race? Su Yu only smiled and didn't say anything. I didn't dare to tell your grandfather and father about this. Otherwise, they would definitely scold you. Thank you, Mom. Hee hee. You dote on me the most. All right, you just woke up. Rest well first. I'll go talk to your doctor about your situation. Then I'll go home and make you something to eat. What do you want to eat? Sauerkraut dumplings, Su Yu said with a cheeky smile. You're greedy. Just you wait. Then, Lady Su walked out of the ward gracefully. Su Yu took a deep breath. What was going on? Wasn't he trapped in the nightmare world? Was he dreaming? That wasn't right. Master Wu said that in the nightmare world, one wouldn't age, die, be hungry, or thirsty. One wouldn't feel anything, just like a living dead. Naturally, he wouldn't be dreaming. So what was going on? Before he could figure it out, the door was pushed open again. President Su, I heard about what happened to you as soon as I got off the plane. You scare me to death. Are you okay? Were you hurt? Let me take a look. Just listening to the voice made one's scalp tingle. This coquettish voice was extremely recognizable. Su Yu turned his head. It was indeed Zhao Qingya. She was wearing a pair of brown sunglasses and holding a Hermes platinum bag. She walked over with her hips swaying. Don't touch me. Seeing her reach out to touch his hand, Su Yu hurriedly scolded her. President Su, what's wrong with you? Are you blaming me for being late? This is the earliest flight. Really, I swear I rushed over as soon as I heard about your accident. Zhao Qingya said, sobbing. Su Yu was a little confused. Then, he seemed to have understood something. Zhao Qingya was still alive, and a celebrity at that. He had a ligament strain, car accident. Could it be that he had transmigrated? He had transmigrated to many years ago when he first met Huamin. At that thought, Su Yu's heart started a race. If it was really this year, he should be able to see Huamin soon. At that thought, Su Yu couldn't wait to ask Zhao Qingya, what year is it now? 2016. Zhao Qingya was confused. Is the most advanced phone on the market 6S? Su Yu asked excitedly. Zhao Qingya nodded in a daze. Is this Southside Hospital? President Su, what's wrong? Zhao Qingya was scared out of her wits, thinking that Su Yu was possessed. Answer me. Is this Southside Hospital? Su Yu asked anxiously. Chapter 45-47. Zhao Qingya quickly replied, "This is Southside Hospital. President Su, please calm down. Looks like I'm really—" Su couldn't suppress his ecstasy. Why did Master Wu say that he would be trapped in a nightmare forever? Wasn't he back now? Haha. Could it be that his character was off the charts? President Su, go out first. I want to be alone for a while. President Su, get out? Yes. Seeing President Su's firm attitude, Zhao Qingya didn't dare to continue acting coquettishly. After all, she knew that this young master had a bad temper. After Zhao Qingya wobbled out, Su wanted to get up and look for Huamin. However, his ligament was injured and he couldn't move his legs freely. At this moment, he smartly raised his hand. He pressed the emergency bell beside the bed. After 3 beeps, the phone rang. A young nurse immediately rushed into the ward. "Young Master Su, what can I do for you? Where's Huamin? Tell her to come and see me." Su felt his heart race. He never dared to think that he would have the chance to see Huamin again. Therefore, when he realized that he was back, the first thing he did was to look for Huamin. As for Tang Chuan and Old Wei, he wasn't in a hurry. He would slowly look for them. After all, they wouldn't be able to run away. Huamin. The nurse was stunned. "Don't you have a nurse named Huamin here?" There's one, but she's resting today. Tell her to come and see me immediately," Su said excitedly. "Young Master Su, Huamin is resting and went home. We don't have the right to ask her to come back. How about tomorrow? Tell your director to come here." "Huh? Tell your director to come and see me. Hurry up, cut the crap." 15 minutes later, President Wu, who had just finished a meeting, was called to the ward by Su. Then, he made only one request. "I want to see Huamin immediately, no matter what method you use." President Wu didn't know what relationship Su had with this nurse named Huamin, but seeing how anxious and determined the crown prince was, he didn't dare to offend him. Therefore, he immediately called Huamin personally. Huamin was eating at home. Yang Meiyerong made scallion pancakes and tomato soup. Huamin was only halfway through her meal when she received a call from the director asking her to return to the hospital. Huamin reluctantly got up, not forgetting to take a biscuit in his hand before he left. "Aren't you resting? Why do you still want to go?" Mother asked. The director said that there's an emergency at the hospital. "It's okay, Mom, you guys eat first. Don't wait for me. Wait for me to come back. I'll heat it up myself." "Sis, be careful," Jixin reminded her. "No problem." Because President Wu repeatedly said that it was an emergency, Huamin took a taxi and said that the hospital would reimburse the taxi fare. Huamin stopped the taxi and went straight to Southside Recuperation Center. When she arrived at Southside, the nurse at the reception desk told her mysteriously, "Hurry up and go to young Master Su's room." Young Master Su? Is he the legendary patient with a bad temper? Huamin was confused and didn't have time to change in her white coat. Today, she wore a white casual jacket. Inside, she wore a simple short-sleeved t-shirt, a pair of light blue jeans, and Converse flats. She was also carrying a bag that was neither too big nor too small. It was Winnie the Pooh and looked like it was worth a few hundred yuan. Huamin pushed the door open and didn't have time to see clearly. She vaguely saw a tall and blurry figure pounce on her and hug her tightly. Chapter 45-48. No one knew how excited Su was at this moment. He was like a hungry wolf, pouncing on him because he was afraid that this was all a dream. He was afraid that when he woke up from his dream, all of this would be gone. Then he would have to go back to that damn desert, huh? "What are you doing?" Huamin pushed him away forcefully. Then he looked at Su with disdain. Su, on the other hand, couldn't express his surprise or excitement. "Mian, it's so good to see you." His eyes were red. President Wu coughed awkwardly and said faintly, "Huamin, do you know young Master Su?" Huamin shook his head in confusion. Su said with a cheeky smile, "It's okay, Wu. Go do your thing. We'll get to know each other soon. This person is shameless." Huamin muttered in a low voice. You guys talk first." President Wu felt that he was a little redundant and took the opportunity to leave. Director, didn't you call me back because it was urgent? Huamin looked at the director, unwilling to give up. Yes, young Master Su wants to see you. Huamian was confused again. Was this the bullshit reason why she had to spend more than 30 yuan on a taxi and didn't even have time to eat properly? Young Master Su, right? What's the matter? Hearing that this person was looking for him, Huamin rolled his eyes impatiently. Su wasn't angry at all. He reached out his hand and said pitifully, Mian, the nurses in your hospital are too bad at acupuncture. They're about to stab me full of holes. I heard that your skills are the best here. From today onwards, can you give me in 4? I'm off today. Huamin looked at him with disdain again. I can pay you overtime. Don't think that you can bribe me with money. Huamin said righteously, 3,000 yuan a day. In the end, Suyu added, RMB. Huamin was stunned for a moment. Then, he glanced at Suyu and said, deal. As expected, there was no one who didn't love money. Huamin felt that there was no need for him to go against money. With Suyu's words, they all felt more motivated to work. Huamin jogged over with the tray and equipment for the infusion. Then, Suyu obediently lay on the hospital bed and waited for Huamin to perform acupuncture. This posture was completely like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. You know me? Huamin suddenly asked him. Suyu shook his head. He was determined not to admit it because Huamin didn't know him yet. He didn't want her to think that he was crazy. Then why did you call me Mian just now? Huamin was indeed a meticulous Virgo and noticed something was wrong. I heard it from the other nurses here, but I don't know you well. I know. Suyu smiled. So, don't call me Mian from now on, okay? Suyu continued to smile. It's the first time I've seen such a strange patient like you. Are you happy to have fracture? Huamin glanced at Suyu's face indifferently, as if he was looking an idiot. Yes, it's my honor to be hospitalized at Southside. It's even more my honor to have Beauty Huo personally perform acupuncture. Suyu's mouth was as sweet as honey. You're good at flirting. Unfortunately, I don't fall for it. Okay, I'm done. Don't move. Be careful of the needle rolling. Huamin picked up the tray and was about to leave. Mian, I told you not to call me Mian. Huamin turned around and glared at her. However, in Suyu's eyes, her angry face was also very charming. Okay. Huamin, is there anything else? She looked at him warily. Hello, Huamin, my name is Suyu. Nice to meet you in the future. Suyu looked at Huamin and said word by word. Chapter 45-49. You're crazy. Huamian left after saying that out of the blue. If it weren't for the overtime pay of 3,000 yuan, she wouldn't have given this crazy guy an injection. Although 3,000 yuan wasn't a lot, it was enough for Jixin's living expenses for 2 months. Therefore, sometimes, Huamin had no bottom line for money. After Huamin left, Qin Chu lay on the hospital bed and looked at his arm. The needle that Huamin had injected just now made him feel happy. Those who didn't know would think that he was crazy. However, he knew that he wasn't crazy. He had never been more clear-headed than at this moment. This hard-won happiness, even though he knew that he still had no chance of winning after transmigrating back to this time, because Huamin already had Qin Chu. At this rate, Huamin and Qin Chu were already in a secret marriage. However, it was enough for him to see Mian again. Hearing her speak and seeing her bright eyes, Suyu raised his left hand that wasn't injected and touched his neck. The amulet was still there. He looked at his left wrist and saw that the piece rope that Master Wu had given him was still there. These things constantly reminded him that he was from the future. Suddenly, he thought of something and picked up his phone to make a call. Then, in the next second, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan rushed in. Lord Su, how is it? Which leg is it? Will it affect your posture? Young Master Tang's words were indeed dirty, just like his personality. Wei Liao didn't say anything and just smiled at Suyu. Seeing his old friend again, his heart was filled with excitement. However, Suyu had no choice but to pretend to be calm. You two came to see me empty-handed. What else? Do I have to carry a big rooster for you? Tang Chuan teased. Suyu, or black chicken soup? Wei Liao continued. I'm not in confinement. Stop bullshitting me. Suyu was speechless. Haha, stop joking. Lord Su, how did you lose this time? Your driving skills can be called the god of racing. How can you lose to that little brat? No, his car was tampered with. When he lost control at the edge of the cliff, he almost flipped over. You saved him? Tang Chuan was stunned. I guess so. I can't just watch him and his car flip over. So you recalled a car accident many years ago. He had strained his ligaments and was hospitalized at Southside. Originally, he was racing with a young racer, but that kid's car broke down halfway. Almost killed. Suyu had saved him in a moment of desperation, but he had gotten stuck and strained his ligaments. Fortunately, it wasn't serious. Speaking of which, this was a very low-key good deed that Suyu had done. Sure, our Lord Su is doing charity now. Don't tell me it's useless. When I recover, do you want to arrange a drinking party? I want a drink. Suyu was eager to try. He couldn't remember how long it had been since he had drunk with these two guys. No problem. When you recover and are discharged, you can drink as much as you want in my wine cellar. Tang Chuan was also generous. At this moment, the door to the ward opened again. Boss. When walked in, Suyu felt a lump in his throat and was touched. This kid had been with him for many years, and he never left him even in his dreams. After everyone left, he wondered how he was doing. Boss, the thing you asked me to investigate. I was about to say. Suyu interrupted him. Ahem. There's no rush. We'll talk about it later. Go and buy us some drinks. I want orange juice. Suyu sent him away. After Tang Chuan and Wei Liao left, Suyu called in alone. Boss, I found out what you asked me to investigate. How is it? Suyu actually wanted to ask how long Qin Chu had been back and how long he had been secretly married to Huamin. Boss, are you mistaken? There's no such person as Qin Chu. At least, there's no such person here. There are many people in the country, but their age and education don't match. Most importantly, the Miss Wu you asked me to investigate did have a boyfriend, but his name is Ning Ziyuan. I heard that they broke up and Miss Hua is single now. What did you say? Suyu looked at it in shock. Chapter 4550 and was shocked by his boss's question. He stammered, Boss, please recall carefully. Did you remember the name wrongly? I really didn't find Qin Chu. Impossible. Hearing Anne's report, Suyu rejected it without hesitation. How could there be no Qin Chu? He was the man Huamin loved the most in her life, his most powerful opponent. Then, do you want me to investigate again? Go. Suyu was a little flustered. He waved his hand and asked him to leave first. Then, he lay on the bed with mixed feelings. He did not know what he was experiencing. What was this? But he was indeed back. He touched the edge of the bed and looked at everything in the ward. It did not seem like a dream. However, it was hard to say. The dream created by the dream creator was exactly the same as the real thing. Could it be that he had encountered another nightmare? Was there no Qin Chu in the nightmare? Suyu's mind went wild. He thought a lot of things that he could think of and couldn't think of. He tried to convince himself. The next morning, Huamin came to give Suyu an injection in the morning as instructed. She was wearing a loose white coat. When she entered, Suyu was eating breakfast. Lady Su was feeding her son porridge. You're not done yet. I'll come back later. Huamin saw that Suyu was eating and turned to leave. No, I'm full. Come and give me an injection. Suyu quickly wiped his mouth. Son, didn't you just eat 2 mouthfuls? Lady Su looked at her son in surprise. She could not understand him. Mom, I have no appetite. I won't eat for now. Please go out for a while. I need an injection. So what if I get an injection? What does it matter if I go out or not? Madame Su was baffled. Suyu smiled slightly. How is that the same? You're in the room, and I'm nervous. What if my hand trembles and the nurse stabs it in the wrong way? Who's going to be responsible then? Lady Su, all right, Mother Empress. Hurry up and leave. Be good. Suyu coaxed his mother out. Only he and Huamin were left in the ward. Huamin was wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses. His outfit made him look very old-fashioned. After all, The young nurses at Southside were all dressed sexily. Huamin, on the other hand, was well-behaved. Was he doing this on purpose? You haven't eaten anything yet, so your stomach might feel uncomfortable if you get in 4 drip. Are you sure you don't want to continue eating? Huamin looked at him and asked in the tone of a professional nurse. I can eat. How about you feed me? So you looked at Huamin with a cheeky smile. You're not my son. Why would I feed you? Sure enough, even though time had traveled, even in a dream, Huamin was still Huamin. He was sharp-tongued and didn't hesitate to scold others. Suyu had experienced this many years ago. At that time, he felt very wrong when he was scolded. Now that he was scolded by Huamin again, he felt very happy. After Huamin skillfully inserted the needles into Suyu, he looked at the 4 drip. Don't move around. Watch yourself. There are 3 bottles today. When you want to change the medicine, ring the bell and call me. Can't you stay and watch the 4 drip for me? I spent a lot of money at your hospital. Suyu continued to tease him. Do you think you're the only patient I have? I have to go next door. If you want someone to watch you, you might as well pay a nurse. After speaking, Huamin stood up to leave. Hey, Mian. No. Miss Wood, do you know Chinshu? Suyu asked in a panic. In fact, he regretted asking this question. What if the answer wasn't what he wanted? Wouldn't he be making things difficult for himself? Chapter 45-51. Huamin froze when he heard Chinshu's name. Then he shook his head. I don't know him. Suyu stared into her eyes the whole time. Eyes were the best at telling lies. Besides, Huamin was a person who never liked to lie. After Huamin finished speaking, he opened the door and left. Suyu, on the other hand, couldn't suppress the ecstasy in his heart. Without Chinshu, there really wouldn't be a Chinshu. Last night, he asked him to check again and again, but he still couldn't find anyone in the city who matched Chinshu. Most importantly, there was no GK Corporation or the Chin family. What Suyu didn't know was why such a bug would appear after time was turned back. Without Chinshu, what kind of ecstasy would Suyu be? He would no longer have to bear the accusation of being a third party, and he would no longer have to carefully have a crush on Huamin. He would be good friends with her for life. According to the information brought back, Huamin's relationship history was as follows. When she was in university, she had a boyfriend named Ning Ziyuan. Later, when the 2 families were planning to buy a house and get married, she found out that Ning Ziyuan had an affair with a female nurse from the first hospital, and then Huamin broke up with him. Then, she was transferred to Southside. Everything was exactly the same as before, except that Chinshu was missing. Could it be that this was a special gift from God to him? Suyu was so excited that he wanted to cry. He never thought that he would have the chance to experience such a moment. At this moment, Lady Su came back and went straight into the kitchen. She heated up the porridge and continued to bring it to Suyu. Son, come, eat some more. Otherwise, your stomach will feel uncomfortable. Mom, I'll do it myself. Suyu happily picked up the spoon with his other hand and drank big mouthfuls. Be careful. No one will steal it from you. Don't burn yourself. Mom, you look so beautiful today. This dress is beautiful. Is it the one I gave you for your birthday last time? Yes, you have good taste. Your dad also said that this style suits me. Lady Su was in a good mood. She adjusted the scarf around her neck. This brand is not bad. I'll buy more for you when I go on a business trip to Europe. Oh, what's wrong with you today? You seem to be in a good mood. A mother knew her son best. Lady Su realized that her son, who had always been bad-tempered, was in a good mood today. He was still in the mood to praise her dress and even promised to buy her a new dress. The sun really rose from the west. Although Suyu had always been filial and treated her well, her son would never tell her about buying a dress. Mom, I like a girl. Suyu's words stunned Lady Su. Then Lady Su sighed. I know. Isn't she the girl in your company who recently acted in a costume drama? She's pretty, but your grandfather doesn't like people in the entertainment industry. I'm sure you know that. If you like her, date her first. If it's really to the point of marriage, you can ask her to leave the entertainment industry and keep a low profile for a while. Then bring her back for everyone to see. Elders were always very cautious when it came to relationships. Lady Su didn't like gossip. She was a real rich lady and was very cultured. However, she still paid a lot of attention to her son's matters. She knew very well what kind of shows Su Yu's entertainment company produced every year and who he supported. Lady Su knew that her son had been supporting a girl named Zhao Qingya recently. She thought that Su Yu was talking about her. Who knew? It was someone else. Mom, it's not Zhao Qingya. She's not from my company. My company is just putting on a show. This girl is the one I really like. How do you like her? Tell me, Lady Su said with a smile as she peeled an apple. When I saw her, my heart raced. Then, I felt like all the flowers in the world had bloomed. Su Yu said emotionally. Chapter 45-52. Su Yu's description made Lady Su convulse with laughter. Su Yu was speechless. Mom, isn't that funny? I owe for my son to use such mushy words to describe her. This girl isn't simple. Tell me, where did such a magical conch girl come from? How did she charm you? Forget it. I won't tell you for now. I'll tell you when I catch up with her and have news. You mean you haven't succeeded yet? Su Yu nodded. Yes, I haven't succeeded. Okay, when you succeed, bring her home and have a meal with me. Mom, you'll definitely like her very much. Since Lady Su and Huamin were so close, Su Yu was full of confidence. You're that confident? Yes, she's a very, very good girl. Su Yu used two very words, which piqued Lady Su's curiosity. After Lady Su took care of her son, she went home with the bodyguards and maids. When she bumped into him in the corridor, Lady Su did not forget to ask him, has young master been in contact with any girls recently? No, young master has been in the hospital recently. It's inconvenient for him to move around, so he hasn't gone anywhere. Could it be someone from the hospital? After saying this, Lady Su left the hospital curiously. Su Yu was bored as he stared at his 4-bottle. He felt that he was walking too slowly, so he reached out and sped up the 4-drip. When he saw that the medicine was about to run out, he immediately pressed the bell. Sure enough, in less than 3 minutes, Huamin came over from the on-call desk. You're done so soon? Huamin looked at the 4-bottle. It was indeed almost empty. Yeah, hurry up and change the dressing, Su Yu said with a smile. Huamin looked up and swapped the new 4-drip with the one he had just brought. Then, he glanced at Su Yu. Don't go so fast. It'll irritate your stomach. Got it, Madam Nurse. Hearing how Su Yu addressed him, Huamin was slightly startled. Didn't they say that an ancestor was staying in this VIP ward? What did he mean by the man of the hour in the city? His temper was extremely bad. Why couldn't Huamin see a trace of violence on his face? On the contrary, she felt that he was a polite and patient person after interacting with him a few times. What the hell? Huamin was about to leave after changing his dressing. So Yu picked up a big apple with his other hand. Miss Nurse. Huamin turned around. Su Yu directly threw the apple over. Fortunately, Huamin reacted in time and caught it. What? She looked at him. Thank you for your help. I'll treat you to an apple. Che. Huamin clicked his tongue and laughed. He picked up the apple and left. As soon as Huamin left and came in, then he heard his boss in a particularly beautiful mood. Why was he in a particularly beautiful mood? Because he was whistling. What kind of song was he whistling? And listened carefully and almost spat out. Because the melody was secretly asking the holy monk if his daughter was beautiful. Was his daughter beautiful? Wasn't this the theme song of Journey to the West? What was wrong with his boss? Why was he whistling all of a sudden? And walked over quietly. Boss. Yes. Did you win the 2-colored ball first prize? And asked in a low voice. Su Yu was speechless. What nonsense are you thinking about all day? The lottery is a scam. It's specially made to trick a little idiot like you. That's strange. What made you so happy that you actually started whistling? And was puzzled. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.